Yeah. So as you know, like all you are aware about that, like we are going to start particularly the integration bootcamp. So basically this integration bootcamp is specially designed for the fundamentals knowledge. Let's say if you want to work on the integration stuff, so this particular fundamentals bootcamp will help out you to understand the concept of the integration. Okay. So like now the integration is most popular in the Salesforce domain itself. Because this is nothing but one skill sets are added into the Salesforce domain. Not to the Salesforce, in the other technologies as well, like integrations, like is now a very core skill set are there, right? You should aware about the integration concept and integration fundamentals. So, so this particular integration bootcamp is specially designed for the new beginners or the freshers. And if you are aware about that, if you are experienced professional, that is also good. But we are going to cover everything from the scratch. So I'm going to share one by one, like how we are going to cover, what we are going to cover in this particular bootcamp. Okay. And if you have any questions or any doubts, so you can add into the chat window. Hopefully, I will try to cover up into during like the last of this session. If I'm not able to cover it, I will just make sure that I will save your chat into, and then maybe in the next session, because this particular bootcamp having the couple of sessions, series of sessions from beginner to advanced. I will show you. Okay, so maybe we will like weekly, we will cover up the doubt clearing session as well. Okay. Yeah. So let's start. Let's begin. So basic about like we have collaborated with like SFDC Blogger is a community blogging platform, and we are collaborated with the Cloud Pludley platform, which is an e-learning platform. So I'm just sharing about like SFDC Bloggers. It's just a community blogging platform. Just like couple of years ago, I have started this community blogging platform for everyone who wants to share their knowledge, article, and experience with the community. They can use these platforms to write the blogs, articles, and share their knowledge and experience with the community. Okay. So this is just a brief about the SFDC Blogger that I have started a couple of years ago. And about the Cloud Pludley platform, so we are the collaborated with each other to provide the particularly the Salesforce related learning platform. So basically a Cloud Pludley is an online learning platform that provides curriculum. So there are multiple courses and boot camps are available in the future as well. We are going to cover about some multiple learning curriculum as well. Okay. Yeah. So about me, so most of you are aware about that, but I will share my about journey itself. So my name is Aniket Kole. So currently I'm associated with the Perficient is a global consulting firm which is located at Nagpur. So my current designation is a lead technical consultant. So if you talk about my previous journey, like I have around 8 years of IT industry experience. So basically at the starting of my career, I started worked as a Java developer. So I worked on the core Java related technologies like Spring, Hibernate, and other core frameworks. Then after that, after working around 3 years, I moved to the Salesforce platform. So around 6+ years, I'm working on the Salesforce platform. And also like I have a community group leader of Amravati Salesforce developer group, and the also active member of the Nagpur community group leader, Nagpur community as well. Yeah. And so you saw this kind of a LinkedIn post, social media post, like Salesforce Integration Bootcamp. So this is the topics that we are going to cover basically. I will share the complete agenda as well. Okay. So this is the first session of this bootcamp. So we are going to cover the couple of sessions in this particular bootcamp. So if you talk about this bootcamp, this complete bootcamp is available on the cloudpadle.com. You are already enrolled on this particular course, so you will be able to access of this particular bootcamp, all those training contents on this particular Cloudpadle platform. Also, I will make sure that the recording will be also available on the YouTube channel, so you can subscribe the YouTube channel as well. Also, I have created the GitHub repository. So on this GitHub repository, you will be able to access all those training contents, including slides, notes, and all. So let me just particularly start about it. So first of all, thank you for registering for this bootcamp course. So around 2000 plus attendees has registered for these bootcamps, and I'm seeing now like 200 plus attendees are joined. So thank you for all. So let's begin. What we are going to cover and what now, I will share all those informations with you. Okay. I have created the one GitHub repository. In this GitHub repository, you will be able to access the current topics that we are going to cover, and the future topics as well that we have planned. And you will be able to see the notes available. So we have created the notes as well. We have created the sheet as well. So let me just share the sheet with you. So this sheet is shared with you all as well. Okay. So this is the day one that we are covering. So like today is the first part of this integration bootcamp. So we are going to cover the couple of topics in today's session. Some of are theoretically, some of are practically. Okay. Most of my focus will be the practical part, because we are going to we have to aware about like how to implement and how to implement the particular integration scenarios in the Salesforce using Apex as well. Okay. Yeah. So, and as well as not for today, in the next couple of days, we are going to start the another sessions as well. So this is the day one agenda that we are going to cover, and next session, which is planned on the 3rd of June. So you will be get a notification as well. So in today's session, we are going to cover about the fundamentals of the integration and integration terminologies. What is web services? We are going to talk about the JSON fundamentals as well. Okay. And then particularly, we are going to talk about the REST web services, and we are going to talk about the Postman tool as well. So this is the today's agenda. Okay. And next session is planned on the 3rd of June. So in next session, we are going to talk about the XML and the authentication. My next target will be the authentication, like how we can do the authentications when we are working on the integration. Today's session is specially designed for the fundamentals knowledge, like basic principles. Okay. And the third is third session, that is the date 3 sessions I'm talking about. This is focused on the authentication, but is specially designed for the OAuth and JWT tokens. Okay, so how you can implement that. And next, the day 4 session, that is the session 4, which is we are going to talk about the integration patterns. Okay, like how the integration patterns works, how the frameworks works, so that we are going to talk. Okay. Then day 5 sessions will be a design for the specially designed for the supported APIs, because Salesforce itself are providing the some REST APIs, streaming APIs, bulk APIs are there. So we are going to talk about in the session 5. And next, the session 6, we are going to talk about the SOAP implementation, because if we come into the integration domain, we have the REST APIs and SOAP APIs, web services are available. So REST services we are going to cover today, but about the SOAP API we are going to talk about after session 6. So if you talk about, we have planned around 10 to 12 sessions, okay, in this kind of completely integration bootcamp, and these are completely are free. Okay, so we are going to cover it from the scratch basically. Okay. yeah, so this is about little about the introduction, how we are going to cover. And before session, every sessions, I'm going to release the topics, notes, and everything. Okay. So as I talk about that, like notes are available, slides are available, and assignments are available. Okay. So notes and assignments, particularly, I'm going to release session by session. Okay. So this is about the agenda. And if you have any doubts or anything, definitely we'll plan about the doubt clearing sessions as well. Okay. Yeah. And if you talk about the notes, so in this GitHub repository, the notes links are also available. So you can just open the note, like notes. So like today we are going to cover this topic. So these notes are available here, like what is integration, obviously we'll talk about. Okay, integration terminologies. So all these are the theoretical contents. Okay, but my main focus on the practical implementation. Okay, so if you want to cover about some theoretical, so these notes are available, you can go through it. And these all things are we are going to cover in this complete next 2 hours. Okay, like about web services, REST API fundamentals. Okay, then how the HTTP protocol works. Okay, then we are going to cover about the HTTP status codes. Okay, then we have like JSON fundamentals are there that we are going to cover. So complete notes for the today's sessions are available. Particularly, we will be publish these notes on the platform as well, so you will be able to access it. Okay, so this is about the notes. Okay, and now the assignment is also available. Once you are aware about the all things, you will be able to do the hands-on. So I have added the couple of assignments here. And one important thing is that I have the one news for you. The top 5 assignments who are going to submit, that will get the some swags from me. Okay, from SFDC blogger. So this is the one giveaway. So who are like after this session, who are the first top 5 participants who are going to submit the assignments? I will get the notifications who are going to submit the assignments. They will get the swags from you that will be delivered via some, we can say, through to your address. Okay. So this is the one giveaway from my side is that once the session is completed, just go through the assignments. Okay. So there are a couple of 5 assignments are added here. And then once your assignments are done, please submit your assignment as soon as possible. So top 5 participants will able to get the swags. Okay. Yeah. So this is about, so assignments and everything are available. So this is agenda. This is notes that we are going to cover. Okay. This is about the assignments. Yeah. So now let me go. Let me close this out. Yeah. So now we are going to follow how we are going to cover everything. Okay. So I have planned these sessions in a very different way. I will talk about it. What will be the learning sequence for us? Okay. See, like we are not started it. I'm just going to start one by one. So what will be the learning sequence for this session 1? Okay. As you know, like when we are the child, we have first learn about the language. Okay. Because language will be the important when we are going to start. So as a child, if you are all are remember, we have learn about the alphabets, right? A, B, C, D are alphabets. We have first learn about that. So if you see, so I'm going to teach about this integration in very different way. Okay. Obviously the practical implementations are there, but if you see this diagram, so I'm going to touch each and every. So there are total 3, we can say the sections of this particular integration bootcamp session 1. One is a language. Okay, because as a child, you all are aware about that. We have learned the language first, and then we are able to do the communication. So I'm going to relate our life with the technology. Okay. So technology, this, if you see these three, we can say boxes, these are the technology, and these are your related to your life. Like we are going to learn about the language. So in the technology perspective, we have to learn about the JSON, because JSON is nothing but a language which is used for the communication. Okay. Then we are going to talk about like how communication happens in the integration. Okay. And then we are going to talk about the medium of the communication, like how are they. Okay, so as per the session 1 agenda, we are going to talk about the integration. What is integration? How integration works? Okay, integration terminologies. There are different terminologies that are used are there. Web services. Then we are going to talk about. So these are the completely theoretical parts. Okay, if you see, these are the I have added way of learning as well. Okay, and then we are going to start about the practical examples in the Salesforce environment, like how. So the my learning sequence will be the language first. Okay, then we are going to talk about the communication, means nothing but a callouts. Then because web services are divided into the two parts. One is a RESTful web services and one is a SOAP based web services. And most widely used web services is the RESTful web services. Okay, we are going to cover the SOAP as well in the future sessions. So now our today's session is totally designed for the REST-based web services. So now we are talking about the communication. Then next we are talking about the build, medium or resource for the communication. Because once the medium and the resource is available, then we will be able to reach out, right? So this is our learning sessions. And then after these sessions, you will be able to complete the part 1 of this bootcamp. Okay. So this is the technological part. This is the language communications. And during this particular, so like these are the integration terminologies. So once we are able to complete, okay, once we are able to complete these 3 parts, you will be able to understand all these integration terminologies. Okay. So once we'll complete these 3 parts of these 3 boxes, if you are able to see, you'll be able to complete this all terminologies. Okay. So this is about this one. Yeah. Now let me go to the contents of the session. So as I share with you that we are going to cover the 3 things: language for the communication, how to do the communication, and build a medium, that is build resource. Okay, so in these 3 parts, we are going to talk about the multiple things. So first, we are going to talk about the language for communication. Okay, yeah. So this is about this. But before going to that, we have to talk about the integration parts, like how the integration works. Yeah. So yeah, let me share the GitHub link as well. I'm just sharing into the chat window. One second, let me just share this particular. Let me just add the chart, and I will share this with everyone. So I shared the GitHub link on the chat window. Okay, and here all the slides notes are available, so you can refer these notes as well during this session. Okay. Yeah. So now let's jump to the next one. So now the first point is, what is integration? Because we have to understand about the integration fundamentals first, and then we have to jump to the next one. Okay. So theoretical, we are going to cover some theoretical parts. What is integration? Okay. So let me share you one by one. I will tell you the one real-time example, and you have to correlate that examples with that. Okay. The theoretical definition is added in the notes. Okay. But so what is integration? So integration is nothing but connecting the 2 systems and applications with each other. And that 2 systems and applications, I can say, are communicating each other. That is nothing but an integration. Okay. I will tell you the via example. Okay. So let's say you are working in one company, and your company have the employee management portal. Okay, so you are working for the ABC company. Let's consider you are working for the ABC company, and your company are managing the employee data, right? You are the employee of the ABC company, so your company is having the employee management system. Okay, this is your company portal, employee management system portal. Okay, and this portal is completely designed on the Java platform. Okay, Java platform plus database, and they are using the MySQL for the database language. Okay, so your all company employee information is managed in this particular way. Okay, now there is another company. Okay, they want to integrate, or they want your company employee data. Okay, there is another, we can say your companies are integrating another platform. Okay, so your company has built one, we can say leave portal. Okay, and this portal is built on the SFDC platform. Okay, but your complete employee management data are available on this platform. So this platform is built on the Java. The database connected with this Java platform, and they have used the MySQL. Okay, now your company has built a leave portal, leave management portal on the Salesforce. Obviously, they cannot migrate complete data. So like your company architect, enterprise architect, or technical architect had decided that the data migration will be the very complex things if we migrate the data, and you have to maintain the data, or you have to manage the data in the two platforms. One is on the Salesforce platform, and second is on the Java based platform, right? So it will be your company enterprise architect decided that like you are not going to migrate our data into the other platform, because if you have to manage everything, like duplication of the record, replication of the records. If any data is changes here, that should be replicated here as well. So that will be the very complex. So you cannot maintain every data on multiple platforms, right? So now you need to do the communication between these two systems. Okay, let me control Z. You need, so you are like, as I said, your company has developed this platform long years back. Okay, because that time they have that type of scenario, so they have this built complete platform on the Java. But now they have built a leave management portal on the Salesforce. But your employee data is not available here. Your complete employee data is available here. So how they do with that? So there is one thing is that data migrations, like these are whatever the data is available in this platform, in this database, like they are using the MySQL server as a database. So obviously they have to do the syncing things, they have to do the data migrations, they have to manage their own data. But your company enterprise architect decided that. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can just post on chat. Okay. And I will make sure that anything is not blocked. Okay. Yeah. So they have to decided to do the integration. Okay. The communication means any employee will log in. Okay. Any employees wants to apply leave. Okay. They will log in. Okay. They will log into this via portal, and they will particularly do the communications with this platform. Means your data is as it is now in that particular database server, because they are using MySQL. So means that you are going to communicate, or you are going to build one system. Okay. And this communication is nothing but an integration, integrating the applications and systems with each other, and they want to do the communication. Okay, now let me jump to the notes. Okay, so if you see, the integration is the process of connecting a different software and systems and applications through the APIs. APIs is nothing but an application programming interface that we are going to talk about. Okay, and it allows different systems to communicate and share information with each others, and making it easier to access and use the data different platforms. Right? As I said, this is the different platform. This is the built on the Java platform, and they are managing their complete. So if you talk about like why they cannot migrate complete things on this platform, that is again very challenges to migrate complete platform and migrate complete data to the different, right? That is very challenging. So in that scenarios, this is nothing but a one use case I'm talking about. There are multiple use cases. Okay, so this is these particular things. Okay, this particular whatever these arrows are there, this is nothing but a communication. Okay, and the two systems communication is nothing but integrations. Means you need to particularly it allows different systems to communicate with each other. So that is nothing but integration. Okay, so if you see the notes here, so basically what is that? API provider. So this particular your enterprise architect will design the one web service in this platform. Okay, means you are going to design the one web service. Web service can be anything. It depends on your we can say business solution in design. Either it can be a REST or either it can be a SOAP. Okay, so it's complete based on the your architecture of your project or architecture of your that platform. Okay, particularly. So your particular enterprise architect, you will design the web service here. Okay, to access data. So once any employee are going to log in into that portal, they will communicate with this web service and they will do the data interchange. Okay, between this system to this system. Okay, and you are going to access all those things here. Data access. Okay, so this is nothing but this. So these particular things. Okay, let me go. These particular things. This is nothing but an API provider. If you see are there, API provider. Particularly. Okay. And then API consumer. So you will be consume this API in this particular platform. Okay. Okay. This is are there. And then you will be able to. So your employee are the end users of this particular platform, new portal. Right. So then you will be able to see. So this is nothing but integration. Okay. Connecting the two systems and applications with each other. That is nothing but an integration. Okay. Yeah. So clear with this point, everyone? Anyone have like, if you have any questions, you can just put your questions on the chat. I will definitely cover this your questions after this session. Okay. So this is about this one. I will be asked every time. I will ask questions like you will be able to understand now. Okay. So this is about the integration things. Means you are going to integrate out there. So this is just an example. Okay. Yeah. Can everyone just reply on the chat? You can reply on the chat as well. Like you can just start chat yes if you are able to understand the concept here.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Yes.
If you are not able to understand, you can say reply no as well. That is also fine. Okay. Don't hesitate to say no. Every time I have a point like if you are not understanding, you say no. Definitely will be add on some things are there. Okay. So there are one question are there. Let me just create. I will just create get it some question. Okay. Not every question. Every questions I will cover at the end of session. But like I saw one question from Ritika is like what is the different systems and application? So different systems and applications is nothing but your like let's say you are build a one platform. Okay. Okay, and that platform. So I can say employee management portal. Employee management portal, your company has designed one employee management portal. And in that portal, when you are onboarding as an employee in that company, you have to enter your certain information. Okay, you have to enter your onboarding process, onboarding documents. So all those your employee documents, employee information, employee salary, all these are maintained are there. So your company has designed that application online. Okay. So that particular application is designed based on the Java platform. And all those data is stored on the database, and that database server is a MySQL database server. So different systems and application means which platform and which technology and which database servers you are going to use. That is nothing but a different system and application. Okay. So this is about this one. Yeah. So this is the short, but definitely I will cover. Whatever I see, I will try to answer it. Okay. So this is about integration. So, okay. And integration is not related to the Salesforce. Integration is all about all technology, all platforms. Integration domain is not specific related to the Salesforce. Integration is for all. When you are working on the Java, you have to talk about, or you have to aware about integration. If you are working on the .NET platform, C#.NET platform, you need to aware about the integration. You are working on the PHP, whatever the technology or whatever you are using, every technology or every domain have the integration. And Salesforce is also, because you cannot rely on the complete one system. You have to be integrated. Okay. Are there. So this is about integration. Okay. Now let's jump to another theoretical concept. These three topics are theoretical. I already said that this is, but practically we are going to cover from here. Okay. Now let's talk about the terminologies. So when you are doing the integration, okay, you have to certain aware about that different terminologies are there. API, I have listed that terminologies here. Okay. API endpoint, maybe I have listed couple of, but there are multiple terminologies out there. But as a fundamental concepts, you need to aware about these 12 terminologies. Okay. API endpoint, API call, or we can say HTTP callout or REST callout, resource, API request, API response type, that is nothing but a JSON and XML, API response code, payload, API methods, query parameters, authentication, and web services. Okay. Authentication we are going to cover in the session 2 of this bootcamp, but some couple of terminologies we are going to cover. Yeah. And just hold up to this end of the session. You are going to aware about these all terminologies. We are going to cover one by one. Don't worry. Okay. You are going to particularly understand you are going to understand each and every terminologies during this session one by one. Okay. I have added some theoretical notes as well here, but I'm not going to read each and everything here. Okay. So this is about the particularly integration terminologies, and we are going to cover each and every terminologies during this. Okay. So if you see the contents of this session, okay, particularly, so we are going to talk about each and every terminologies during this particularly contents. Okay. So we'll cover one by one. So all those notes are available here. Now I am jumping to the part 1 basically. Okay. Part 1. Part 1 means the language. Okay. So this is some theoretical part that I shared with you all. Now I am coming to the learning sequence part 1, that is language. Okay. So using language, you are going to understand about the JSON fundamentals. What is JSON? JSON fundamentals is a part of the terminology that is response types, API response types. Okay. Don't worry. We are going to touch each and every terminologies here. So what I said that we are going to talk about the language first. So I'm going to share the knowledge for language first. So let's consider if you are doing the communication between these two systems. So you are going to use, so most widely used language, I can say the language for the communication is the JSON, okay, and the XML. JSON and the XML basically. And this is called as the response types. Okay, this is called as a response types in the integration terminology. This is called as JSON and XML. We are going to cover the JSON in today's session. We are going to cover the XML in the session 2. So basically language for the communication. So basically we are going to cover about what is JSON, JSON structure. Means obviously what I said, first you are going to learn about the language. Okay, then you are going to cover about the communication. So in the communications, we are going to talk about API endpoint, API call, HTTP callout, API request, resource, and API. So couple of terminologies are going to cover in the communication. Okay, and couple of terminologies we are going to cover in the third part of this session, that is the build, maintenance, and resource. Okay, so this is about this one. So the first thing is that particularly the language, and in the language we are going to cover the JSON. Okay, we are going to cover about the JSON first, like how the JSON works basically. So JSON is nothing but a response type. Okay, let me just go to the response type. API response. Okay, so HTTP response sent by server to a client in a response to the to a request. Okay, basically means what? Your complete data is available in this platform, right? As I said, your all those employee data. Okay, all those employee data, I can say, let me just add, let's say for example, employee name. Okay, employee date of birth. Okay, employee. We can say then you have the employee salary information are there, then employee leaves information are there. Okay, all these are nothing but a particularly a data. Now you have to interchange this data with this system. Means this particular systems wants to access this particular data, employee name, date of birth, salary, leaves information. So obviously you need to use the one language. So JSON is the one language which is used for the communication when you are doing the integration between the two systems, and the JSON is the communication language. XML is also there. These are the most widely used languages are there. Okay. Other than that, there are multiple as well. But JSON and XML, you can use the plain text as well. You can use HTML. So basically, these are the languages are. So I can say this is called a language as per my terminology. Okay, because whatever I am understanding that I want to share. So basically JSON is nothing but a language for the communication. Okay, so if you see JSON, so it is called as a JavaScript object notation. Okay, it is a data interchange format or subset of JavaScript programming languages. JSON has an advantage for the human as well and for the machines as well, because JavaScript is a very easiest language for the data interchange between the two systems. Okay, so we are going to talk about this language first. Okay, so now we are going to talk about, let's say, what is JSON. So JSON is nothing but a JavaScript object notation. It is a data interchange format which is used to build a communication between the two systems. Okay, so it is I called as a language. Okay, so as I said, if you saw the notes, it is a lightweight data interchange format, and it is very easy format basically. As a humans or as a human beings, we are also able to understand, and as a machine as well, whenever you are doing the implementation of the this integration, you will be able to, and machine is also able to understand. So it's a very easy interchange format. Okay, so this is nothing but, and if you talk about if you're going to talk about the more tutorial, so on the Java T-Point platform there are tutorials are available as well. Okay, so these complete notes are we can say built based on the different platforms and whatever the Google information, LinkedIn information are available. Okay, so this is nothing but a JSON. Now so whenever these two systems are going to communicate, they are going to communicate with the help of JSON language. Means when this particular leave portal or SFDC platform wants data, this complete set of data are going to serve in the form of JSON to this particular system. Okay, so this is built on the Salesforce platform. This particular service are going to send the data, interchange data in the JSON format. Okay, so we are going to talk about the different JSON structures as well. Okay, how the JSON looks like. Okay, now let me jump to the notes. Okay, so this is particularly some of the links are there, like how the JSON formats works. Let me just copy this URL. These are the different types of JSON formats. Okay, so what is JSON? Let me repeat it again. JSON is the full form of the JSON is JavaScript object notation. Okay, and this is a response format, data interchange format whenever you are doing the communication between the two systems. And one thing is that JSON is not only one response format or data interchange format. There are multiple formats are available, including XML as well. Even you can do the plain text communication as well. That is also possible. Okay, but we are going to talk about specific JSON in the today's session. Okay, yeah. So this is about JSON. Okay, JavaScript object notation. It is a data interchange format to do the communication between the two systems. So that is called as a language. Okay, language for the communication. So we are going to cover. So how the JSON structure works and different JSON format. Okay. Particularly. So this is about JSON. So whenever these two systems are going to communicate, they are going to use the JSON. So it's completely, and it is not mandatory every time you have to use JSON. It depends on your architecture of your application. Okay. If your architect has decided that I am going to use the XML, so you have to use XML. It is not mandatory. We are going to cover the XML as well. Okay. That is also we'll do it particularly. Okay. Now let's talk about the JSON structure. How the JSON structures. One question to all is, everyone is aware about that the map are in Apex? Can you reply on the chat? Are everyone aware about the map principles?
Yeah.
That is the collection part, right? So basically, map follows the key against value, right? Key against value basically means this is nothing but a particularly the collection. Collection is nothing but a data collection, similar like an array. Okay, so similar like JSON is also nothing but a key against value. Okay, key versus key against values basically. Okay, similar like to the map. If you are aware about the concept of map, then definitely you are aware about, then you are going to understand about the JSON. Means how the JSON structures are there. So I'm talking about JSON structure. Okay, there are 2 to 3 things needs to understand. Okay, JSON format. Okay, then a JSON data types. This is needs to understand. Okay, this is about, so JSON is nothing but a key value pairs. Okay, so first of all we'll understand about the JSON format. So curly bracket open, curly bracket close means what? This is nothing but the syntax of the particularly JSON. And in this JSON, you can particularly build your structure according to that. Okay. So let me introduce. So let's say, for example, this is key, colon, this is against value. Okay, this key against value. So this is nothing but a format of your JSON. And these format are used to communicate. Okay, are used to communicate. So this is nothing but a JSON format. Curly bracket open, curly bracket close, then again your key and then your value. Similar like to the map. Map is a collection of it. So I'm just interrelating each other. They are not same, but I'm just doing the interrelation to understand the concept. Okay. And so this is nothing but a format. And you are aware about that whenever we are working on the programming languages, we have the different data types. So in the JSON as well, we have the different data types. Like we have the string, we have the number, we have the boolean, and we have the array. Okay, and we have the object. So these are the different data types are available in the JSON. Means you can build a JSON structure and JSON formats with the help of this particularly a data types. Okay, this particularly data type. So this is nothing but a JSON structure, or you can say JSON syntax. Okay. So we are covering this topic, JSON structure. So first of all, I will introduce about JSON format, and then we'll go it one by one. Okay. So there are different data types are there. Let me introduce. So if I'm designing any JSON, okay, I can particularly, let's say for example, I want to share this information, right? We have the employee age as well. Let me just show you. We are maintaining the employee age as well. Okay, age is number, name is string, date of birth is date, salary is kind of a number, right? So we can particularly maintain all these information into the JSON. So JSON itself have the data types. JSON itself have the string, number, boolean, array, and objects out there. Okay, and we are going to talk about the parsing and all in the couple of minutes. Okay, so we can store our data in the key value pair. Let's say for example, I can say employee age. I can store, let's say for example, okay, then we are going to store about employee name. Okay, so I'm storing my name in the string format. Let's say my name, my first name and my last name, right? This is the employee name. What is that? This is the key, this is the value. So that is nothing but a key and value pair. Okay, so if you wants to understand more about JSON, so let me just go to the Java T point. Okay, JSON tutorial. Just go to the Java T point. You will be understand about the concept of the JSON. Okay, so basically what is JSON? JSON, the data lightweight data interchange format, and easy to read, right, than XML. Okay, and Java supports array, objects, string, numbers, and values basically. Okay, so I'm going to share this tutorial. You can easily find out this tutorial links on the and this JSON is not specific to the Salesforce technologies, come by all for all technologies. Okay, you can use this communication language in all technologies in the integration domain. Okay, so this is nothing but a key and this is nothing but a value. So this is nothing but a JSON format. Okay, you can store string, you can store numbers, you can store, let's say for example, I can say I want to maintain the status. Okay, employee status means employee status. I can say employee onboarded. Okay, I want to just maintain that. So I'm just want to maintain onboarded true. Okay, true is nothing but a boolean values, right? Then let's say for example, I want to maintain the employee data, employee address data, right? So employee address can be a multiple permanent address, then regular, let's say temporary address. Okay, so I want to maintain, let's say, employee address. So I want to maintain into the array. So you are aware about the array symbol, right? Let's say for example, square bracket open and square bracket close. Okay, square bracket open and square bracket close. This is the array symbol. And in that array, you are going to maintain the two things. One is a temporary address. Okay, comma, you are going to maintain the permanent address. Okay, these are two. So if you see, JSON supports every data type here. JSON supports number, JSON supports string, JSON supports boolean, JSON supports array. And this complete curly bracket open and curly bracket close is called as JSON object. is called as a JSON object. So this is nothing but a JSON format and structure. So we can maintain our JSON data in the different structure according to your business requirement or business solution, whatever are there, right? This is just an example. I'm just talking about the example. Okay, let me go to the this tutorial site, JSON example. Okay, so see this one. This is nothing but a JSON array. Okay, this is just a basic information like employee name, salary, or married, right? So this curly bracket open, curly bracket close, this consider as a JSON object. This is also considered as a JSON object. In that JSON object, this is the key against value. So value in the form of object. Okay, and this is nothing but a key against value. So this is the text, this is the number, this is the boolean, right? JSON array are there. Inside also array, you can maintain multiple JSON objects, right? These are there. Also, you have the list of information, list of employee information, right? So you can maintain the employee against array. So you will be able to see. So there are different formats. So this is nothing but a JSON. This is the syntax, key against value. And you can use the different data types. So basically a JSON supports the string, number, boolean, array, and objects data types are there. And this is nothing but a format. I have just added some format here. See, your format depends how you are designing the APIs, how you are designing the response, how you are designing the request. Okay, so this is nothing but a key against value. See, status, data, and data against we have the array, right? We can maintain the multiple objects. Okay, let me just curly bracket open, curly bracket close. Okay, employee ID. Let's see, let me just copy it. Employee ID 2. Okay, employee name, second employee name is this one. So my employee ID is 2. Okay, this is salary, this is age, this is image, right? So this is the format is based on how you are designing your API, that is called as application programming interface. We are going to talk about it. Don't worry. Now we are talking about JSON. Okay, so this JSON format or JSON structure is depends how you are designing your API, and we are going to talk about API in a couple of minutes. Okay, so this is nothing but a structure. Okay, so if you see, this is the different structure. JSON objects contain another JSON objects, and one JSON objects contain particularly a different values, JSON values. Okay, and these JSON values is having the string type, number type, boolean type. This is nothing but a JSON array. Okay, with the array symbol particularly. Okay, this array contains multiple JSON objects. Okay, array with multiple JSON objects. Okay, and please make sure that curly bracket open and curly bracket close is nothing but a one JSON object. Okay, this is also another structure. JSON object against key, right? And key against we have the array. Means employees. We have to maintain the collection of employees. It's similar to the list, right? Particularly. Means in the one section, let's consider one example. We have the class 10, and in the class 10, you have the particularly the section A, section B, section C. And in the section A, you have the 30 student. In section B, 40 student. Similarly, you need to maintain the data. Let me just give you the one example. Okay, you have the class 10. Okay, and in the class 10, you have the A section, B section, and C section. Right? And in the class 10, you have the 30 students. Okay, you have the in section B, you have the 40 students. Okay, and you have the 50 students. Let's consider, I'm just giving an example. How you will maintain this data into the Apex. Okay, you will design a map. Map will design, let's say, for example, class 10. I'm just giving an example. Class 10. This is the string. Okay, this is the string, class 10. And in this class 10, you have a particularly, again, I can say, the particularly a list. Means you obviously you need a list, and in the list you are maintaining the section, and again section you are maintaining again array, again list. Means how your JSON structure will be designed. Your JSON structure will be designed like this. This is JSON object. In this JSON object, particularly you will have the again we can say I can say the particularly the section name particular. Okay, section name. Okay, and in that section name particularly you will be having the array. Okay, section. I will give you the name is called as section. In this section you are going to the array, and in that array you are going to build another one object, and in this object you will be having a we can say section name. Okay, this is section name. So let's say section name is A section. Section A. Okay, now what you want to do? You want to maintain the students, right? Students, and in this you will maintain the array. An array against you will be having the JSON objects, multiple student, student 1, student 2, student 1, right? Then student 2. So this is nothing but a structure. This is called a JSON structure. This is key against value. So this is nothing but different formats of the JSON structures, how you are going to maintain. Okay. So whenever we are doing the communications with the REST API, especially I'm talking about REST API, JSON is the most widely used response format, data interchange format. Okay. So this is about, and I have just listed down the different JSON formats out there. Okay. You can say this is the array. See this one, pizza name, base, topping, spicy. One array, let's say you are building one portal for the one cafe, and that cafe provides a pizza, and that cafe is providing a different types of pizza. You need to bring that data from the different system, right? So you are bringing the array, and array you have the multiple JSON means pizza, different types of pizzas, right, are there. So this is nothing but a JSON which is against key against value, and that key against value, key is always string. Okay, don't worry. And values having the different data types are there: string, number, booleans, and arrays and objects. Okay, this is called as JSON. Okay, this is talking about I'm talking about the JSON structure and different JSON formats. Clear, everyone? Yes, everyone clear. Is clear with these JSON formats and JSON structure?
Yeah.
Yes, clear.
Clear, Aniku. Perfect.
Okay. So I have added some links are there. You will be able to get this link in the GitHub repository as well. There are different formats, and please make sure that you are going to do the hands-on with the JSON. Okay, you are going to do the hands-on with the JSON, because you don't know how the structure will build. It's completely depend how your complex system, how you are doing the complex systems integration, or how you are building. Okay, so see, there are different formats, different structures. First, basic things you need to focus: JSON data types and JSON syntax. That's it. We are going to talk about the how to do the parsing, how to build a JSON. That we are going to talk about. That's why I called as language. Okay, so see this one. Why I called as language? Because when I am child, I just first learn about the alphabets A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, right? And then we are going to do the communication. I'm not doing communication directly. I'm just doing the language first. I'm just learning the language first. So basically, a JSON is the language is used for the data interchange format. Not JSON. There are different formats. I'm repeating again. Huh? So we are going to learning JSON. So this is nothing but a JSON array. Okay. So this is about the JSON principles. There are multiple JSON format. This is another one. There are giving the multiple JSON examples, and please try to do this hands-on with this JSON. Okay, definitely you are not going to lose any confidence when you are working with the integration. Okay, do the practice with these examples. I will share these links with you. Okay. And I will share these different formats as well. Okay. So this is nothing but a JSON. There are different JSON. Okay. Yeah. This is about JSON structure and formats. So this is nothing but a JSON. Now, the main important, now let's jump to the how we'll do the Apex, because we are working on the Salesforce platform. We are using the Apex. Now you need to aware about how to pass the JSON. Let's say you have built this one, right? Now this system you are sending a data to Salesforce. How you are going to get the data, we are going to talk about in couple of minutes. Now you have received the data into the JSON format. The now main thing is that how you will do the parsing of that JSON data in Apex. Now you are aware about the JSON and JSON formats. Now main important is that you are using Salesforce platform. Okay. And now you are receiving this particular different JSON format. What I said, JSON is the interchange format, and when this particular Java platform will send the data to Salesforce and you are receiving in the form of JSON. Now you have received the data in this Salesforce platform in the Apex. Let's talk about the Apex. Okay. So now we have to talk about how to handle the particularly JSON parsing, JSON generation in the Apex. That we are going to talk about. Okay. So we will get some examples. Okay. So now let's consider, let me just use the one thing. I'm using this for example. Now our practical are started. Okay. Practical example are started. I'm not going to cover any theoretical part. I'm just going to particularly cover the examples, multiple examples. Okay. So I'm going to use this particular JSON format to cover these particular topics. Okay. Topic number 4, 5, 6, and 7. We are going to talk about with examples. Okay. So now let me go to the JSON. Let me close this out. Okay. Let me just build a particularly a simple notepad. Okay. This is the JSON format. Okay. And you have the system A, which is sending the data. Okay. This system A sending a data to the system 2. Okay. And this system 2 is built on the Salesforce. So you are using Apex. Okay. Apex programming language. This particular system 1 is built on the Java. Okay. And you are using, they are sending the system 1 sending a data in the form of JSON interchange format. Okay. And now particularly you are receiving this particularly a data. Okay. Did you in the system 2 and you are receiving this data. Now how to handle this JSON in the Apex. Okay. So we are going to talk about the JSON parsing and JSON deserialization. Okay. JSON parsing and JSON deserialization using the two different mechanisms. One is a manual implementation that is using JSON parser class, and one is a JSON deserialization using the standard classes. Okay. So I have added the nodes. If you jump to the JSON part, so in the node section, you will see the JSON fundamentals using Apex. So if you are working on the Apex platform, okay, if you are working on the Apex platform, so you need to aware about the particularly how to handle the JSON. Okay, so as I said, you are going to receive this data from the system 1. Okay, and they are sending the data to system 2, which is built on. Now you have to handle this JSON data. Okay, so we are going to use the JSON generator, JSON parser. I have added the developer documentation as well. Okay, in that. And what I did for the example, I have built a static resources. I have built a static resources. For example, this is just for the example. I have built one static resource to get that data. Now you are not aware about communication. Okay, you are not aware about communication, how to do the communication. Okay, I'm talking about communication in the next part. I'm talking about now language, and we are going to talk about the parsing. So that's why I am using a static resource to get the data. Okay, so if you are talking about parsing of this data, you have the two different ways in Apex. I'm talking about in Apex. Okay, you have the one JSON parser, that is the standard inbuilt class in Apex library. Okay, in Apex library. Okay, this is one, and then particularly this is the manual implementation, and we have the standard deserialization methods. Deserialization, that is called as serialization and deserialization. Okay, so now you have received the data and you have to particularly parse it. So first we are going to talk about this one, JSON parser class implementation. Okay, so let me just create one Apex class. Let's say JSON examples. Okay, let me create one Apex class here. Public static. I'm just creating one Apex class. Let's say, for example, JSON example 1. Okay, I will just write one query. Okay, on the static resource. Okay, select ID, comma name, comma body from static resource. Okay, why I am using static resource? This is not a real-time scenario. Static resource I am using for the communication, because we are not learn about the communication right now. Okay, so I'm just using static resource. I have stored this data in static resource. Okay, basically. So and I'm using this one from name. Let's say I'm using equal to colon. Okay, and limit 1. So I will receive the static resource. So it's nothing but your data is received. Your data is received from Java platform, from system 1. This is an example. Huh? Just consider this is data. Your data is received. You are doing the callout. Okay, so that callout we'll talk about in some time. So you have the received the particular static resource. Okay, now you have the data. I have the data this completely. Okay, let me just print out this data using system debug. JSON data from system 1. Okay, you can just print, use the body. Okay, and now what I'm going to use? I'm going to use the JSON parser class. JSON parser is a standard class which is available in the Apex library, and this is the manual implementation. Okay, this is the manual implementation. So what is the steps if you want to parse? What you want to do? You want to parse this data, and you want to, after parsing, you want to store this data into the Salesforce. Okay, that is the simple use case that I'm using here. So you need to use the JSON parser classes. You have the JSON class. Okay, you have the JSON class, then you have the JSON parser class, and you have the JSON. These are the two classes are there for the parsing. Then you have the JSON generator as well. Generator as well. This is the for the manual implementation, manual parsing and generation, JSON generator. Okay, and then we have the another mechanism, that is the serialization and deserialization. Okay, this is the easiest mechanism. Most of the time we have to use it, but we'll talk about the first JSON parser. Okay, so now what I have to do? I have to use the create parser, because I am going to, so my data is received, so I need to pass the JSON data. So I need to pass the JSON data here. Okay, so I'm going to pass this data to string. We have to use string. We have to pass the string here. So let's consider your data is received. from the system one. And this particular create path, this is the standard class. I have added in the notepad in the notes as well. This is the standard class. Okay, JSON generator. Sorry, let me go to the JSON parser first. In the JSON parser, this is the standard class basically. Okay, this is the standard class available. Okay, let me jump to the particularly list JSON. Yeah, this is the developer reference guide. This is notes and this is the JSON. See this one. This is the standard inbuilt class, and in this class there are different methods. Create parser. If you want to do the parsing, you need to do the create parser. Okay, so this parser class will return the particularly a JSON parser instance. Okay, and in this parser class you have the different methods available. Okay, so let me just try to resolve the error here. 1 second, let me just try to resolve the error.
Yeah, you have to use a where clause there after static resource.
Yeah, correct. Sorry. Yeah, that is mistaken. Yeah, so your data is resolved, error is resolved. Now let me jump to the JSON parser class. You will be able to get the every reference from the documentation. Okay, so this is the different parser and there are different methods are available. Okay, so now let me jump to the developer console. So you need to understand about more. When you are doing the manual parsing, okay, let me just zoom it out. Manual parsing, this is nothing but a token. Curly bracket open, JSON token. Okay, status is a token, success is a token. So when you are doing the manual parsing, you need to aware about the particularly a token base. This is the particularly each and every keyword is nothing but a token. Okay, so what I need to do, so this is your JSON structure, right? You are aware. So when you are doing the manual parsing, you need to aware about the JSON format. Okay, how your JSON format are coming. So I need to parse it. So basically parser dot, you need to go to the next token. Next token means this token. You will receive this token. Okay. Now, so, and now let me just print the one thing for you. So you will be able to understand. Okay. Next token, and then I will use parser dot get current token, current name. Okay. I'm just using current name. So every keyword means curly bracket is nothing but a JSON token. Okay. It is a, this particularly status is nothing but a JSON token. This value is nothing but a JSON token. Okay. So everything in the JSON format is nothing but a JSON token. Okay. So let me just try to execute this code. JSON example. This is the static method and just we can run it. Let me just execute highlighted. Okay, I think it is a current name. Let me just try to print. Okay, I think this particularly, I think it's printed the blob basically. Data, if you see, it is here. Data.toString. I'm just using toString method here. Okay, and then you will be able to get that token, next token, and then you will be able to get a current token. Now let me just print it. Let's execute highlighted. Debug only. So see now, this is the JSON is received. Now see, you have received the token status. What I said, this is nothing but a token. Every keyword, curly bracket open is a token, status is a token, success is a token, every token. So whenever you are doing the manual parse, this is a manual parsing. Sometimes you need it. You don't know. I'm just sharing about the basic principle, right? Now let me try to just use the current this token name. If I jump to the next token, let me jump to the next token. Let me print the next token name. Okay. Now let me execute this code. Debug only. So see this one. Yeah, this is, you can ignore. You have to jump to the next one. Most of the, yeah, it is status printed, but you have to jump to the next one actually. Okay, let me show you the one test JSON example. Okay. So you have to give the current name. Current name is nothing but a particularly the method which is available. So means when you have to do the parsing, manual parsing, during that manual parsing, you need to aware about it. Okay. So now let me show you one example. This is our JSON structure, right? And now you have to manually extract your data. You have to manually extract your data. So you have to use this mechanism to get the data. Okay. Let me just use this. I'm just using this particular example. Because see, after the next token, you have the value. After this status token, you have the value. So means the token is not available particularly. This is also token, but this is nothing but a value. And after that, your key will be available. So that's why if you see the status is printed. Okay. So now let me jump to the next token. And what you have to do, you have to use the get text as a value. Okay, get text is a standard method are available. This is a current name, and then you will be a user get text as a value. Let me just print out, just comment out. So means I'm jumping to the two tokens. Okay, this is the token 1. Okay, and then this is a particularly token 2. So I'm jumping to the second token, and then current token is a status. And then I have to get the values. I can even conditionally match that as well. I can match the condition as well. If like parser dot next get current name, okay, is equals to the status. Okay, is equals to test. Then I can get the values as well. Okay, let me just print it out. I will try to execute to you. So now this is nothing but this one. Now you have got this one, right? Again, you have to go to the next token. Again, you have to go to the next station, and then you can particularly bring the values. Okay, let me show you. See, this is next token. You have to go to the next token, and then again you have to go to the parse the get the value. Okay, now let me just print it out. Again, let me execute. So, are you able to see my developer screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, yes.
so see this now. This is my output, right? So this is the token. Status is a token, and then I jump to the success is a value. Okay, so what I said, every keyword has a called as JSON token. So you have to jump to the, if you are doing the manual parsing of your JSON data. So this is also needs to be token. So see that what I did, I jumped to the two token. First token means, as per our example, first token means nothing but a curly bracket. Okay, now I jumped it to the next token. So I got the next token called as status. Called as status means nothing but my key. And what I did, I matched that data. Yeah, it is status. I conditionally match. And then again, I jump to the next token. This is called as next token. And what is that? We have the value on that next token. So if you see, the output of this code is success. Means this is the token. This is nothing but a JSON value. And we have called, this is called as JSON token. If I jump to the next one, okay, if I jump to the, I need to jump to the next one. I get the value. So the next, I have to use the next token value. I have to again jump to the next token. And then after that next token, if I use the system.current name, so it will be a received data. Okay, let me just try to execute this. Debug only. Now see this one, data is received, right? See this one, next token is data. And after that next token, we have the again next token, that is array, JSON array, right? So I have to jump to the next one. So let me just jump to the next one and get text value. I'm just using value 1 here. I'm jumping to the next token. Debug only. So see, what is saying? It is saying it is showing the this particular that bracket, right? Round bracket. Then it will, we have to jump to the next. So every individual things is a JSON token. Okay. And this is called as manual parsing. And obviously manual parsing is kind of a quite difficult if you have the less format. Okay. And if you don't know what type of data are going to be come into the response, then definitely you can use this JSON parsing as a manual we can say parsing. That's why called as manual implementation. JSON parser class. Okay. JSON parser class is the manual implementation, because see everything, right? I already show you the output, means even this particular JSON array symbol is also called as token, right? So obviously you need to understand about the either. So manual parsing, if definitely you can do it, you can do for the some requirement there are, but most of the time you need to aware about that, because you don't know the what scenario come. Okay, if I jump to the next token, this curly bracket will come. If I jump to the next token, this ID will come. So you have to do the manual, we can say manual parsing. That is called as manual implementation. Clear with this point?
Yeah.
This manual parsing is done. Are you clear about that?
Clear.
Yes,
Right?
clear.
Okay.
I
So
want to point something. If I can now, or I can make a chart.
which one you are talking?
Yeah, actually, in JSON we had defined the data type of what the type of the data is coming from there. So
Right.
here, what the token will consider the data type? It will take it as the same data type, or what is the token is considering here?
Okay,
Hope
means
you
you
got
are
my point,
talking
right?
about okay. You are talking about each and every keyword, whatever are coming, what will be the data type, right?
Yeah, sure.
So see, it will be a consider as a string basically. Okay. And if you talk about the specific value, so it is called as a JSON value. And JSON value contains the text basically. Okay. So every time it will be a basically a string. Okay. And then you can use the text thing to get the values basically. Okay.
So you are concluding like every data type which is coming from the JSON now taken a token will be taken as an text
Yeah,
string.
if you see,
String.
I am using get text method, and
Okay.
this get text method is returning me the this particular round bracket symbol, right? Open bracket, right?
Okay.
Right. So what is that they are getting the result? So I'm talking about manual. If you see this is value 1 is received as a this one. So mean this is the special symbol as per the machine language code or interpretation. This is nothing but a particular special symbol, and obviously this is coming as a, and JSON is completely will be the a string based. Okay, that I'm concluding.
Okay. Thanks for it.
Yeah. So this is about the manual transmission, we can say parsing. But it is not a conclusion like you have to do every time manual parsing. You have the standard one. Okay, we have the some methods are available. Let me talk about it. I will create the example 2, that is nothing but a example 2, and I am going to use the same thing. I'm going to particularly use the same JSON. Now I'm jumping to the deserialization method. Okay, deserialization is the standard way to do in the systematic way with the help of your class-based structure. That is called as a wrapper class. Okay, that is called as a wrapper class basically. Now let me use the same thing. Your data is received. Now I will use the JSON class and I will use the deserialization method. Deserialization is having the overloaded method basically in the class. Okay, it is a overloaded method. You have the see the different types of versions are there. Okay, so I'm using the first version are there. There are multiple untyped version are there, strict version are there, but I'm using a normal version. Okay, now you have received the particularly this JSON string. So deserialization is the standard method which is available for the we can say proper parsing of your JSON. Means you have received the JSON. Now you don't need to do manual transformation. So the way is that the class-based structure that is called as wrapper class, I can say in the Apex. Okay. Let me go to the JSON class which are available. So in the JSON class, we have the deserialization method. Okay. Deserialize the specified JSON string into the Apex object of the specified type. Okay. Apex object means you have to maintain the your object or class type. You have to mention the class type, like what type of class type you want to deserialize. Deserialize is nothing but converting your data. Okay, converting your data into from JSON string. Okay, from JSON I can say a JSON string into original data. Okay, original data / objects or class type. Okay, you can consider as that. So deserialization, we are doing the deserialization. So it is nothing but a parsing. Okay, you are doing the parsing in the standard way. They have given the provision. Deserialization is nothing but a parsing, but we are using the standard method to convert the JSON string basically. Okay, so that is, so we have to use. So I just passed this one. Okay, now how to pass this second parameter that is called as Apex type. So you can build a wrapper classes. You can build a wrapper classes. What I said, curly bracket open, curly bracket close. It is nothing but a JSON object. Okay. So in the object oriented programming language, this is nothing but a Apex class. Okay. Okay. So let me just try to create. So what I will do, I will create one class here that is called as a wrapper class. I can say employee info. This is my curly bracket open, curly bracket close. So this is nothing but a class. So it will consider as a JSON object, this one. Okay. And what is that? Inside that you have the variable. So I will declare the string, right? I know this is the string type. Okay. So I will define a string type and you have to give the same name as a JSON key. You have to give the same key. You can use the getter setter property. Okay. Status. You need the same name as a JSON key. You cannot use JSON1, JSON2. You need the same one. Okay, because deserialization method will works with the same key name. Okay, otherwise it will not work. Now, what is that? This is nothing but a particularly a data. Data is also key and this is nothing but an array. Okay, so what I can do, I can build another one class that is called as employee. And in this class, I can maintain, this is nothing but my class and I can maintain my particularly variables. Let's say for example, string, ID. Okay. I'm using this getter setter for now because getter setter is used for the setting and getting the data. Okay. Then string ID, then particular, what is that? Employee name. Let me just use here. Very quick, fastly. Employee name, right? Now let me just copy the another one. Employee salary. Okay. And now, as per the JSON structure, what is that? This is array. What type of array? Employee. So as per our object-oriented programming structure, we have to maintain the array. Means employee array basically, or I can say data, because you have given the data. Data is a key against you have the array. You can maintain the list as well. That is not an issue. You can maintain the list, the standard collection class. Okay. I will talk about same one like similar. Let me just resolve the errors. Line number 42. Let me just yeah, it is error. It is resolved.
Semicolon.
Yeah. That is done, and this is correct, right? And this will not work because we have created the internal class. So obviously, actually, we have to use the parent class dot that class. It will not work. Okay, parent class dot, because we are using internal. Even we cannot develop a class internal class. It will throw the error. Okay, that is the object-oriented principles of the this Apex language. Okay, so this is nothing but this one.
Semicolon.
46 unexpected token.
Semicolon is missing.
Oh, sorry. Got it. This is correct. Yeah, see, now let me just save it. Yeah, that is the different. Yeah, this is different. So this one, your class structure is ready. That is called as your wrapper class. Okay, now you can pass this wrapper class to this one. Okay, dot class. You have to use the append dot class because it will take the reference. Okay, during compile time, it will take the reference of this class structure. Okay, so you need to understand. So see this one. This is our JSON structure, and we have built our class structure here. This is a string. This is the particularly value which is in the form of array, but this is also considered as an object, and we have defined the employee as a class, and we have that. We can define the list as well. This is also fine. Similar, like I will show you, like list of this one, and we can give the this one. This is also possible. This will also possible. We can define anything. Now, this deserialization method will return this class information. Means this class object. In the runtime, you will get object of this instance of this particular class. Info. I'm guessing employee info. You have to typecast. Typecasting because deserialization is written the object. Okay. Deserialization return type is object. Parent object. Okay. So you will return this one particularly. Sorry. I think I have forgot. Yeah. So this particular class will return info, and then you have to typecast, and this is having the information. Let me just print out on the system demo. We can say what are their status. I can access status because we have the object, right? We have the variables, member variables of the class. We can access status. Now let me access data. Info.data. So it will return me the list. Okay. For now, only one are available. So we are returning the data from static. I have stored the data in static resource. So we are doing. Right. Now let me just run this code. Our method name is this one. Execute highlight. Debug only. Now see this one success. See particular. Now let me just print out properly. Okay. Now let me just execute highlighted again. Now let me debug only. So see this one. You have received. See, first is success, and then you got the array. And array you got the employee name, right? Employee salary, ID. And this is, if we have the multiple data in the objects, obviously you will receive the multiple employee objects. So this is called as a one of the way parsing way. Means once you receive the data from the third party system to Apex, this is the way, this is the mechanism to pass the data. So this is the deserialization method that is used to particularly convert your JSON string into the original object. But for this, you need to understand what is coming in from the third-party system. Means you need to aware about every key and every format. Means how it is receiving. Okay. Other things will be handled by the deserialized method as a standard way. You don't need to aware about the manual parsing line. You don't need to aware about manual. Everything will be take care by the standard deserialization method. You need to take care about the original data type in the object-oriented program, because array is nothing but a list is called as an original object of the in the object-oriented programming. This will be called as a JSON string as a text in the JSON language, but in the original object-oriented programming, this will be considered as an array or list. So obviously, you need to be considered as like this. This is nothing but the particularly deserialization that is wrapper based. Clear this one, everyone? So this is the way to to parse the data. Means you receive the data in this format. Okay. So accordingly, you have to design your wrapper class structure. Okay. You have to design it very properly. You need to know about the we can say the key name of that, because against that key you will receive the data. Okay. And then you can be, now as a logically you can make a loop on it and you can access the particularly all data here. Okay. So this is the concept of it. Clear this one?
Aniket, I
Deserialization
want
and
to
parsing.
highlight something. Since we are in the case of manual, so we are getting data as a string, as you said. So
Yeah.
for every string, we had to convert as per the data type. Once again, in the Apex software, we getting that,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
Isn't?
Right.
So it is very difficult to get what's the next token, what's the next token. So we had to print all the tokens. Then we had to, as per the IDs of the tokens, we had to convert those tokens into the data types.
Yeah,
This is what you're
obviously
saying, right?
that is correct. So
Okay.
for that, actually, if you talk about the manual parsing, you will have the different method as well. I will show you. If you just use a parser, see get Boolean value, right? You will see the different method. Let me try to show you. There are different methods. You talk about very correctly, like we have to take care about the data type as well. See this one, date, time, date, decimal, whatever the text are getting, integer, right? So basically we have to take care whenever we have to get the tokens, and according to that we have to do that. Okay. But this is the, see, like every time you don't need to use this manual parsing, but it is my way, like you need to aware about that. That's it. Okay. But most of the time we have to follow this deserialization mechanism to do that. Okay. Because whatever I have experienced that during whenever I'm doing work on integration, we are using the class-based structure, and we are using the deserialization mechanism using the standard methods.
Perfect.
Hello.
Perfect.
Yes.
Hello, Aniket. Hi. Good afternoon. So my question is, as you mentioned, we have to loop the data and basically fetch the data, right? Line
Yeah.
number 42. So could you tell me, means if we want to access particular string from that particular array, could you
Mhm.
show that me one? Means line
Okay,
number 42.
so say definitely maybe I will create some resource on that part. Definitely, because always it take. I got your point. Let me note down this point into the notepad. Okay, and definitely what I will do. See, what I will do, I will try to release some videos on the contents, whatever you are
Sure,
asking.
sure, sure, sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm just using for, like, you are using manual parsing, right?
No, class base.
Okay, class-based parsing for the.
Class base, basically I want only particular string from that particular array, the data we
Okay,
created.
okay. That is simple. I can directly
Yeah,
use
yeah.
this. See now, this is you are particularly you have received the list, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So you can do the looping on this list.
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, this is collection, so obviously you have to do the looping part. So now, what is the type it will return? It will return the employee object, employee class type. Okay.
Okay.
Each employee I can say.
Okay. Okay. Okay, and list input data. Okay,
info.data.
okay.
And now each employee dot, you are this instance employee name.
Yes,
That's
yes.
it. Okay.
Okay.
So you will,
Aniket,
because,
sorry to interrupt. Can you please explain his question once again?
yeah. His question is that, let's say for example, how to access the each and every value from the array. Okay. See, we are
Got it.
storing the object. You can consider as like this as well. You are directly getting string. That is also possible. Okay. But for now, we are getting the particularly object here. Okay. We are considering as a JSON object. Okay. So his question is specifically dedicated to how to access the array elements after the parsing, right? So that we have created the simple different object because we are receiving this array here, right? So that's why.
Okay. Okay.
Definitely, I will note down this point and I will try to create some basic examples here. But now, main thing is that you need to aware about the clear picture on that part. Okay. So at least
Yeah.
you are aware, now you have the idea how to do that. Okay. But
Yes,
definitely
yes.
we'll come up with some small examples in the bootcamp. I will try to make sure that we'll be
Yeah.
add on things into the
Yeah.
course. Okay.
Yes, yes, Aniket. Got it. Means you mean to say after dot each dot emp dot that particular string emp underscore name to access the
Yeah.
data token.
Correct. Right.
Okay. Thank you so much for
Okay.
your inputs.
It
Thank
is
you.
depends on the how you are receiving the value basically. Okay. That is what.
And Aniket, one point here. So if multiple points here, so we need to do same for means then the statement will be large. Means if 10
Yes,
objects
correct.
are receiving, so
Yes, statement will be the depends on your the structure what you are
yeah,
getting.
yeah. Okay, okay. Is there any workaround to if data is less, we can filter out and just get whatever the like in
Means
manual
you are
token?
talking about like is there any way to convert this particular JSON into the Apex class structure?
No, 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 no. Basically, my question is if let's say there is only one object inside an array in data array, right?
Mhm.
So if multiple array are there, let's say 5 array are there, and I want to filter out the data, only filter out 2 data and just loop the data, fetch the data from that.
Okay, see, simple structure are there. Let's say your data is there. Okay. Now again, you will receive the another array. I will consider as a we can say departments. Let's consider. Okay, or technology that are working. So again, you will receive the array here, similar kind of structure, right?
Yeah. Niket, I mean to say, if let's say there is a one object created, right? One object, one data created inside, right? If let's say different 5 objects are there inside after this, after
You are
curly
talking
braces.
about like this array.
No. After yeah.
So see, simple, you will able to access this particular variable. Again, you have to iterate your data. And
Yes.
again, let's say again you are using, let's say temporary, you are using simple string here. Okay. Let's say temporary address, permanent address are there. Right. So in the original way, you will receive the string type of data. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So obviously you have to iterate and all you have to do that.
Again loop and again database data.
Yes, correct. You have to collection, let's say for example, a list of string here. Okay, let's say addresses. Okay, similar.
Got it. But not any mechanism to filter out data, right?
No, that is the manual logic. The filter out logic is your, we can say, whatever according to your requirement, you have to do the manual, you have to build your logic.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Please, everyone, please be on mute. So I will be able to hear. Yeah. So this is now about this one. Now we are aware about the particulars parsing and deserialization. So I'm just making out status as complete to understand like we are able to complete the each and every topic. Okay. Because we have to complete on the time. I will try to make sure that every topic needs to be a touch. Okay. Because this bootcamp will be again go to the very large way, right? So we are completed with this one.
Yes.
And definitely I will be add on some small videos into this particular bootcamp. Okay. Yeah, now we are covered about that. Now we have to go to the generator, means serializations. Now you have the original data, original objects. Okay, now you have to convert into the particularly a JSON form. So there is a JSON, similar like for parsing as well, you have the manual implementation, and for JSON generator as well, you have manual implementation. Okay, particularly. So, and the serialization is a standard methods as well. Okay, that is we have to use for the convert your original data. Okay, so serialization is nothing but a basically converting. Deserialization means converting your JSON string. Okay, and now serialization means converting your original data, converting into
String, JSON string.
yeah, sorry. This is a similar, I have missed out it, I think. Okay, convert your, we can say, original object, original cast type data into the JSON string. Okay, this is called as serialization, or we can say the generation, JSON generator basically. Okay, this is about there. So how to do that? Okay, so similar, like let me create one example here. Example 3, I'm just using here. So now, so we have to use JSON dot create generator. Now we have to use create generator. Pretty means it's talk about like there are pretty symbol, means you will be a JSON structure will be the properly standardized. Okay, now you will receive the JSON generator instance. Okay, you will receive the generator instance here, and using generator, now see, you have to generate this JSON structure, right? So your original is that you have to start the object. You have to start the object. So in the generator class, you have the standard methods. Let me just jump to the JSON generator. Let me just try to go to the class. Let me just open. JSON generator is a one class available. Okay, and it is also having the some standard methods. Okay, write boolean, write strings are there. These are the some standard are there. So now we have to start the object, right? So you have to use write start object. There are methods. See this one. There are different methods. What you want to write into the JSON? Okay, so now I want to write object. Okay, particularly I want to write an object. Let me just try to particularly show you start object, right? So see, this is the object is starting. Object is starting. So you have to use write start object. Means your curly bracket will start like this. Then what are that? After that, you have the string field inside that object. Generator dot start object and generator dot, you will get another method here, generator dot end object. Means your object will end here, right? Similar like this one. Okay, start object and end object. Okay, this is one. And inside that, what is that? You have to write a field, string field, right? This is the key, and against it is have a string, right? So what you have to use? You have to use write string field, right? You have to use a write string field basically, and then you need to pass the value. String field names, whatever key name what you want to give. Key name, let's say I want to give the status. This is status. And value, your value will be a dynamic based on your logic. Okay, success. I'm just passing the hard-coded value. No, this is the right string field. Let me check. It will be no errors. Yeah, there will be the no errors, right? So this will start object and this will return this one. Okay. Now inside that, against what we have the one field, and against that field we have the array, right? So what we have to do? We have to use write dot write field name, because we have to write a field here. So I have to write a data, means my key name. And what is the original type? This is the array. So we have generator dot write start array, write start array and write end array. There are different methods are available. This is the manual, end array basically. So this array will start here, means logically array like this, array will start and array logically array will end, similar like. Okay. So write start array, write end array. See, I'm generating this JSON, write start array, write end array. Inside that again we have object. Okay. Inside that again we have the object, write start object. Okay. And write end object. Let me just try to properly structurize this one. Okay. Write start object, string field name. Okay, and then start array, end object, right? And inside that object, we have the again different fields, right? So let's say you are a string field, number field, or whatever. So we have only string field, only string field like ID, name. We'll just only add some couple of items, okay? And employee name. ID is 1, and I will just add employee name. Okay, and now you have to use generator. There are one method called as get as a string. It is a standard method. It will return the string in your JSON string. Okay, so this is the manual way to generate the JSON. Manual way. It depends how you want to do it. Let me print this JSON. Okay, let's execute this example. Now let me debug only. See this one. Are you able to get this? See this response?
Yes.
So this is the JSON string is generated using the particularly this JSON generator class. See, write start object means your object is started. Then we have field. See this one, data. Similar kind of JSON we have generated using the manual way, basically, right? So this is nothing but a we can say the way we have to use it basically. Okay, this is it. And similar like this is the manual way, but we can use the serialization method as well. Same thing. I'm going to talk about the same thing. Okay. You can use the JSON.serialize method and you have to pass the original data, original object. Okay. Let me show you. Let me go to the previous examples that we have created. In this example too, see this one. We have parsed this one. So I can again generate one. JSON.serialize is the mechanism. And now we can directly pass this original object and it will return the JSON string to JSON text. So serialization is the mechanism in the standard method. Okay. So it will directly convert this object. Okay. It will directly convert this object into the JSON text. Let me just try to print it out. I will show you JSON text. Now let me just execute this highlighted. Debug only. See, the data is completely generated, right? So this is JSON is generated using standard way. So basically, serialization is a standard method to generate. Means now you want to send a response from this portal to this one, right? From Salesforce to Java. So obviously you need to send a response in the JSON itself. So obviously you need to use the serialization to generate a response. Okay. So this is the way called as JSON generator, manual implementation, and JSON
data will be in the text format.
Yes, can you repeat? Can you repeat your question?
The generated data will be in text format.
Yeah, generated data, whatever the string are there, this is the completely a JSON string. Okay. And this JSON string you can send via body, via different way as well. Okay. These are there. Okay. Clear with this one? JSON.stringify is a particularly some methods which is available in the JavaScript side are there. Okay, that is are there. But we have the serialization methods are there and deserialization that use. Okay, that is one. If you are a simple structure, you can use it. Otherwise, this one. Clear, everyone? Anyone with this?
Aniket, I want to highlight something.
Yes.
Here, I want to continue extend this question actually.
Hmm.
So now we are serializing the fields and object everything. Now it is now we are not giving any kind of data type to it, right? So it is taking in a string format only directly.
No,
What
so
type of
basically, see, it will be taken care by the serializations. Whatever the data is passes. Let's say, for example, let me just add it one thing here. Okay, I can say integer. Okay, we can say seat number. Okay, and whatever the particularly the values are there, right? So the serialization itself will handle particularly when it will be a converting the into the JSON string. Okay, so that is very important, right? So that is very important. Because whatever the employee structure, you can also particularly try to extract your Salesforce object data as well. Okay, maybe we will cover about some example as well where we are converting your Salesforce objects records into that, and the serialization itself will take care about the data type and it will convert it. Okay, so that is not an issue. It will, because that's why they have given the methods here. Okay, in the JSON generator itself we have the methods. If you saw, let me try to add one method here. Let's say generator dot write number. Okay, so write a particularly a number field. Okay, and in the number field I can just giving 100. Sorry. Okay, so obviously if this particular generator class itself having the methods of that converting that particular data type, right? So obviously that serialization method, this is the standard method. Obviously they will take care about the data type as well. So that is not an issue. Okay.
So the
Aniket, now
same thing
it
is,
became more complicated. Okay. Please go ahead, sir.
oh yeah. So the same thing, deserialization will be working in the same way like the serialization and working like handling the data types. Is it?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I will note down this point because this will be the output for me as well, like to cover the example. So what I will do, once this session will conclude, I will record some example sessions and I will add into the bootcamp course. Okay, so definitely we'll touch on these points. So because the main agenda will be that you will be aware about everything, and then whatever the output will the outcome will come from this bootcamp session 1. According to that, we will be a design for the next part as well. Okay, yeah, I will cover, don't worry, this is will there. Yeah, so we are done with the communication part, language part, sorry. Now you are aware about the JSON things, how will we do that? Okay, now I'm jumping to the next session because obviously we have to cover about the timing things as well. Okay, so now let me go to the communication part. Communication part is nothing but a particularly the calling the API, third-party API into your system. Okay, calling the third-party API, third-party systems. So as per the notes, we are cover about the, now we need to cover about the particularly terminologies that is called as API. Okay, now we are jumping to the communication part. Okay, let me just show you as per our sequence, that is communication. Now we are aware about that. Now how to do the communication out there. So obviously we need to aware about the HTTP call. Okay, because we are covering the REST API. Okay, let me show you. So basically, there are two types of web services. First one is the RESTful. Okay, first one is the RESTful, and second one is the SOAP based. Okay, but we are covering the RESTful web services. Okay, the SOAP based web services we are planning to cover in the session number 6. Now we are covering the RESTful services. So in the RESTful services, we are using the JSON as a we can say a language for the communication, right? Now we have to talk about so web services is the mechanism. So there are two types of web services, RESTful and SOAP, and we are using a RESTful services in the session now. Okay, how to develop web services, we will talk about it. So we will be going to cover the API call. API is also called as the application programming interface. Okay. So basically, this system will design the web service using REST services. Okay. And this particular Java platform will give the APIs. Okay. And you have to call this API, that is called as API call. You have to do the API call. So I'm talking about the communication. I'm talking about communication. Okay, so this particular system one basically will give the API, and you have to call that API from system 2. Okay, that is called as API call. API call is a simply process of sending a request to your API after setting up the right endpoints. And now you need the API endpoint. Okay, in the communication, you need API, you need API call, you need API endpoints. Okay, and obviously request and response and resource will be there. Okay, so now let's jump to the content section, content part. Okay, so first of all, we will understand what is HTTP callout or API callout, but we need to understand about the DNS, domain name system. Okay, means how your original website works. How your original website works, that is very important. So I have added one point here in the note section. How your DNS works. Means let's say you are entering www.google.com, right? www.google.com, this is your website. So basically REST-based services is based on the HTTP protocol. HTTP protocol means hypertext transfer protocol. This is similar like a website. Basically, website calling. Okay. Because HTTP is based on the basically your URL based protocol. I can say you are calling website URL calling, right? Similar like a www.google.com. How DNS works? That is very important. So this concept is similar to that. So I have added one particularly this image, right? So particularly REST-based services is the HTTP-based services. It is based on the URL. Okay, it is based on the URL basically. Means every REST services, every APIs has the URL. That is called as API URL or API URL. And you have to, that is called as API endpoint. Okay, your API URL is nothing but your API endpoint. Okay, and similar like how the DNS works in the website work, right? You enter the www.google.com, it finding out it is going to the local cache, okay, DNS local server, and local server is getting the IP address of the original web server. Based on that, so how it's originally works, you are entering google.com, but in the backend it works, it goes to the DNS server, local DNS server. Okay, local DNS server, whatever the your DNS servers are in your area, right? It's based on the are there, right? And then it is getting the your IP address. So you are replacing, your domain name is replacing, let's say Google IP address is 192.168.0.1. And so this particular IP address is mapping available in the DNS servers. If it is not available, it will go to the we can say global DNS server. Okay, basically authenticative DNS server it is called as. Okay, and it will give, and in that DNS server your port number is also available where your we can say web server located. This is called as your port number, web server information. So all your server information is available on DNS server. Whenever, if you whatever website are live on the internet, all are based on this concept, DNS concept. Okay, so HTTP protocol, if you are working, so similar like for your REST-based services as well, you will receive the particularly URL, HTTP URL, HTTP local based URL basically. Okay, and then your particularly, so your IP address, your port number, and then your particularly the first, we can say the first member that will receive the system. So how this DNS works, and then you will be able to get the website data, right? Once I enter this google.com, I will get right. So this is basically the HTTP protocol works in the original area, right? So similar like your in the architecture of the web application, it uses the HTTP protocol. Okay, so basically REST-based services is also kind of the same thing. Basically HTTP protocol, HTTP request structure, you will get your API URL, means you will get an API, and then you will be give the name of that API, you will passing to them. So every HTTP request should have the URL or URL address or the methods. Okay, so API, it is nothing but an application programming interface which is designed based on your programming concepts. And now you are going to call the API, and that API needs API endpoint. API endpoint is nothing but a HTTP URL, similar like this one. Okay, so this is about the basic concepts. So now we are going to call about HTTP callout. How we can do the HTTP callout in the Apex basically. Okay, that is very important concept here. Okay. So now for the HTTP callout, let me just create another Apex class, HTTP callouts examples. Okay, so here there are three classes are available: HTTP, HTTP request, and HTTP response. These are the three standard classes are available. Standard Apex classes are available. Okay, and these classes are used to do the communication. Okay, means let me go to the particularly important part. API. Okay, so API is a set of definition and protocols that allow technology, product, and services to communicate via internet. An API call is the process of sending a request to your API. So basically, to call any third-party web service, okay, from the Apex, from using Apex actually. So these are the classes are responsible to the particularly to do the communication with the help of that particular Apex classes. HTTP, HTTP request, and HTTP response. These are the standard classes are there, and that will call the API, that is called as the API call. Okay, and API endpoint. API endpoint is the end of communication channel when the API is interacted with other system. Okay, so this API endpoint is particularly a server URL, database, or whatever, right? Whatever the resource are lives, right? Whatever resource are live means obviously google.com is hosted on some of the server called as AWS server, right? Whatever this website is loaded, right? Obviously it is hosted on some web server. It is called as hosted on AWS server, for example, right? So this is nothing but a concept of the particular, right? And you are then using that API call, you are sending a request. HTTP request sent by the client to a server. It is called as a request. Okay. So this is called as HTTP request and response. Now, so we are talking about the particularly HTTP callout. So HTTP callout, API callout, and REST callout is the same. You can call any name. Okay. HTTP callout, API callout, or REST callout. So now understanding about the REST request and its method. Okay. So now what I will do, I will use the one dummy API for example. Okay. I have listed down the some dummy APIs for the practical, your practical purpose. Okay. So these are the particularly dummy practice live APIs. There are different APIs. There are different platforms are giving the some practice APIs. Okay. So I am using this dummy API to get the response. Okay. To call the APIs basically. Okay. So now we are going to talk about the communication. Okay. So see this one. This is the URL. Okay. Now let me jump into there. This is called as API endpoint. This is called as API endpoint. Let me just, this is a API endpoint. Okay. Dummy dot, this is nothing but a particularly, this is your HTTP URL server. Server URL. Okay. HTTP URL. Whatever the www.google.com something.com, right? And here this is called as a your particularly API. This is called as, so this is the API called as API name. You can call as that is API name as well. Okay. We will be also give the API name when we are going to learn about how to create API. Okay. And now when you will call this API, when you will want to hit this API, this is called as an API call. API call. Okay. When you hit the API. Okay, let me just try to do it. I just copied it and pasted it. Sorry, I think it's not. Let me copy this one. I'm just entering on browser. See this one. This is giving me the JSON data. This is giving me the JSON data. I just entered this API. Okay. So this is nothing but I'm calling the API. Once I entered this on browser screen, means this is I particularly hit that API, means I'm doing API call. So how to do via programming? So that we have to learn in this particular communication section. Okay. So let me create one method here, public static void callout example1. So what you have to do? You have to create an instance of HTTP class. HTTP class, you have to create an instance of HTTP class basically. Okay. And then you need to build a HTTP request because you are calling the employee request. Employee is the one, we can say resource are available into, right? So we are considering as a particularly that resource and you are calling, right? So that is nothing but a request where the all information are available. So you need to create an instance of that. Okay. HTTP request. And in this request, you need to set all information. You need to set all information. That is, there are different kind of methods are available. Set endpoint, right? Set body, set method. Method is also important. There are different types of JSON methods are available. That also we are going to talk about it. Okay. So every method is having their own importance. Okay, let me talk about it as well. HTTP request method. Okay. There are 4 types of methods will be supported by say we can say Salesforce Apex are part are there. So see, REST callout using means from the web browser you are sending a request via internet to API, and that API is hosted on the web server, and that web server is connected to the database, right? So we have to use this particular 3 classes: HTTP, HTTP request, and HTTP response. Okay. So now you can particularly set the methods. So there are different kinds of methods are available: get method, delete method, post method, and patch methods. Okay. Let me talk about methods. HTTP methods, right? Get method, post method, put method, patch, and delete. These are the 5 methods are supported by the basically a Salesforce Apex part. Okay. So get method is specially designed for requesting information. Means if you want to request information just for the read only purpose, you are not doing any operations on that particular. Get method is just for the requesting the information from the server of that there. Okay, then post method is specially designed for the that is the integration mechanism and integration terminology. Post method means you are talking about inserting a data. Okay, I have added a complete example and theoretical part. You can just scroll down. So see, get method means a particularly used to retrieve a record. Delete method is particularly a delete a record. Post means a create. That is the common terminology in the integration patterns. Okay. So when you are doing the call out, means when you are doing the particular, that you have to also define the method, which method you are calling. So first of all, you have to define the endpoint. Okay. That is the endpoint. So I'm just defining this endpoint URL. Okay. This is nothing but my endpoint URL. Okay, we are hitting this endpoint. Okay, and we are calling the gateway, because see this one, every API is also having the information of that, right? So it will give that by the document. So this is the get method. Means this particular REST API is giving the only employee information. Okay, so you have to request dot set method. This is the standard method. You have to pass the get as a method. Okay. There are different methods. Let's say you want to pass the body, you want to pass the parameter or header, right? Set header are there, right? Set parameters are there, set body. Okay. Then there are different set params method. I think parameters also we can set. We can pass it in the URL as well directly. Okay. So these are there. So these are the simple requests you have developed. Now, what you will do, you have to send this request, right? So you have to use this HTTP class. HTTP class is having the send method. And in that send method, you need to pass the instance of this request class. And this send method will return the instance of HTTP particular response. Okay. HTTP response. And in this response class, you will be having that data. Whatever the response is coming in the JSON format, that response you will receive. Okay, so you will be having a different kind of methods in the response. HTTP response. HTTP response. There is one standard class available. 1 second, let me just try to copy it here directly. I will show you the Apex developer guide. So see, this is the HTTP response class, and in the response you will get the body. You will get a response.get body. So this is the method available, and this body will return the, I can say, if it is returning a JSON, means you will return the JSON response. Okay, because see, this API, this particular endpoint, this API endpoint will returning the JSON in this format, right? Means you are getting now this JSON response, whatever we are learned in the part 1, language, right? So you can use a parsing mechanism. You have received the JSON string, right? You can use a manual parsing. You can use a serial, particularly Apex class-based structure. You have received that. Means you have did the communication, right? So basically, you are calling the particular API, and you are particularly hitting that endpoint URL and you are getting the response, right? Means particularly this system has requested the information, and this particularly Java platform is providing a web service and then send back response to Salesforce system. Okay, so this is nothing but a means you are calling the API call, and then API call will receive the response, and that response you can handle, and based on that response processing you can build your business logic. So that is called as a particularly HTTP request class and HTTP response class. Okay, HTTP response, and let me try to show you the HTTP request as well. HTTP request. Okay, HTTP request means class. HTTP request class programmatically to create a HTTP request like get, post, patch, and put and delete. Okay, means what type of basically you are calling that. So that is nothing but a particularly API call. Okay, means that API needs API endpoint, and for that API endpoint you are hitting that API. Means you are calling that API, means that is called as API call. And that particular API is also having, that is nothing but a HTTP request and response. Okay, an HTTP response sent by a server to a client to a request. Because see, you are building this request, then this is you are doing API call. Once it is sent, you will receive the response, right, by the client, whatever API you are calling, and then you can handle your response. So that is called as a, and then you will receive the response codes as well. Like it is success response, it is a fail response, it is internal server failure. So as per the integration terminologies, there are different types of response codes as well. Okay, I have listed down some response code as well. See, 101, 101, 20, successful means okay. 201 means created. There are different types of, we can say, response code are there. So when you are building the API or when you are calling the API, you need to make sure that about this all concepts, right? 40 means what? 40 means bad request, unauthorized, right? So for every number matters. Okay, one second. Every numbers matters basically. So HTTP status code is a 3-digit numbers. HTTP status code is nothing but a 3-digit number that provide information about status request. Okay, you can get that as well. We have the standard method response.get status code. See, get status and response.get status code. It will give get status code is an integer. It is a return type is integer. So you will return the status code. Okay. And it is a string type of, that is okay. Whatever you are sending, that is a status. Let me try to print this all things. Okay, system.debug. Status. Status code. And then JSON response. Right, now let me particularly save this and hit this API. Okay, let me just hit this API. We can call this API. Hopefully, I think we will receive one error. Yeah, unauthorized endpoint. So actually, Salesforce are, due to security purpose, you have to validate this. Okay, so I'm just validating adding the endpoint. Okay. If you see, you will get an error. If it is unauthorized, you have to add a remote site setting. Okay, that is called as a remote site setting for the authentication purpose. So you need to add it. So I'm just adding a remote site. my REST API, something like that. Save. Because we have to do the authorization, not related to the authentication, but it just let's say authorization of that API, because you are calling that API from the Salesforce system. Okay, so this one. Now let me just execute this. See, your request is sent. Your request, you can use the Postman tool for the verify as well. Let me debug on it. So see this one. Your status is okay. Status code is 200, and you received this JSON data. Right? You receive this JSON data and you can parse according to your business logic. So that is called as a particularly the callout. Means you are doing HTTP request callout, API callout, or REST callout, you can say any name. So you have to do the API communications using the HTTP request, HTTP response, and HTTP class. These are the three classes are responsible to building the API call, okay, and handling the response. And then you can build a patterns out. Okay. Clear with this point, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah, Aniket, perfectly all right. I want to highlight something. Aniket, can you please send those codes which you are having separately with each instance you created all the codes, right? Can you share with us?
Yes. So what I will do after this particular session ends now, all those code I will add into the GitHub repository. Okay, whatever examples I'm taking, and then you will be able to have that particularly response.
Appreciated. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, so we are done with this part. Okay, like we are done with this particularly DNS complete HTTP request classing method. So you will be able to see the different methods are available here. Okay, HTTP request methods.
HTTP mock callout and HTTP response are the same thing.
No, mock callout is for the testing unit test for your Salesforce part. Okay, that is different one. So mock callout is dedicated for that whatever the standard are there. Okay, so that is used for the testing purpose of your that whenever you are deployment when you are doing. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this is about this one. API callout, and so there are different methods are available. Even if particular that API is doing the authentication, you can also set the certificates. You can set client certificate name, right? That API is handling the authentication using header, right? So you can set the header as well, particularly, right? Set header methods as well, particularly, right? So there are different types of particularly methods are available inside that HTTP call that used for the communication. Okay. So this is nothing but a communication mechanism that is used basically. Yeah. Anyone have anything?
So HTTP callouts like available for both the REST and the SOAP APIs.
No, SOAP is different. SOAP is different. We are talking about REST only. SOAP callout is a different mechanism. Okay.
So for that, we are not like using this type of structure like HTTP callouts.
Yes, correct.
Is it?
We are not going to use this particularly in the SOAP-based services. They are having a different mechanism to call it.
So
I mean,
what is the main
since,
difference between the REST and the SOAP APIs?
See, SOAP is like a more secured, we can say REST services. SOAP mostly use the particularly XML based structures are there. Okay. And REST.
how do we differentiate these?
Yeah, so there are simply see there are two to 3 points here I need to highlight here. REST is the most widely used API whenever you are doing the integrations. Okay, why REST? As per the official things, as per the documentations, and as per my knowledge and experience, REST is a very secure way. We can say less secure than SOAP. Okay. Obviously, you can do the authentication, you can do the add authentication mechanism like OAuth 2.0, JWT that we are going to talk about in the next sessions. Okay, we can make it REST APIs as well secure, but as per the particular things, REST API less are secure, right? But why the rest are widely used? Because of the implementation mechanism. Means we can use a JSON, and XML is a very easiest format for a data interchange format, and it is a HTTP based. Means you don't need to focus on the dependency. Means because SOAP is mostly dependent on the platform, whatever the structure, because SOAP has used a XML based format, and whatever the client are generating that XML format, you have to use the same when you are doing the callout, and that is the platform dependency. Okay, means XML platform. We will definitely talk about it. Means any XML format are changed, definitely your caller, whenever that particular API is calling, that will be an impact. Okay, so basically a SOAP based is a XML based interchange API. Okay, and REST is a REST also you can use a XML, plain text, HTML, and JSON as well. Okay, so REST is why main difference is that REST why widely used are because of the implementation strategy. We can make, yes, REST is a very less secured as compared to it is, we can make it secured based on the authentication, OAuth and JWT and other security authentication mechanism, right? So that is the particularly. Okay, and definitely we are going to talk about the next things, next topics when we are going to cover the SOAP as well. Okay. Yeah, so this is the 1 point, 2 points I highlighted. One is the implementation mechanism, because SOAP is very handling the XML based and very different way to implement that. REST is a very easiest way to implement because it's a HTTP based. It's completely like a website structure. Okay, that's why. So this is the way. That's why REST is widely used in the most of the time, and we can make it more secure. We can make it more secure REST as well with the help of different mechanisms. Okay. That is the two, we can say couple of differences are there. Okay. Yeah. So this is about some points that needs to be are there, that needs to be highlighted basically. Okay. Now you have called the API, but what about building the APIs? Means how to build the APIs in a REST basically. So now that we will talk about more in now. Okay, that is called as a building a medium/resource. Okay, like how to develop your first RESTful web services using the REST resource annotation. Okay, so now we are jumping more to the building the APIs. Now we have called the APIs. Now we are jumping more towards the building the APIs. Okay, REST services using means create a custom REST API in Salesforce. Okay, means you can expose your Apex classes and methods to an external application and access your code and your applications throughout the REST architecture. Okay, so these are some of the references I have taken from the different resources. Okay, so now how to build a particularly REST resources basically. Okay, that is main. Means I already talk about the web services, understand like there are two types of web services, REST and SOAP, and definitely we are going to cover the SOAP in the later session, next sessions. Now we are going to talk about RESTful, like how to build a RESTful web services. Okay, so let's jump to that. Let's say my first REST API. Okay, so now you are building the API basically. You are building the APIs for that, whatever the API you have built. Okay, so to building the APIs, you need to focus on 2 to 3 things. Okay, that is REST annotation. Okay, REST annotations and methods. REST annotations and methods. Methods means what features you are going to provide. Okay, that is very important. So let's say, for example, I want to particularly, we can say, get the account information, or I want to particularly provide the account information to the third-party system, right? So what I want, if I want to build an API into the Apex, so we need to use the @REST resource annotation. Let me jump to that. See, REST resource annotation. So this annotation is used for the building the APIs in Apex. Okay, and your URL mapping will be there. Okay, URL mapping we'll talk about. That will be a consider as a your endpoint URL, and that endpoint URL will be a pass on to the particularly a client whenever the client is going to call your API. Okay. So whenever you are building the API, you need to add @REST resource annotation. Okay, this is the annotation. This annotation will be a notify system, like this is the REST class. Okay, this is the REST class basically. Okay, and see, REST resource must be declared as a global. That is the standard one. REST resource must be declared as a global. Now this is particularly a my REST resource. Okay, if you see, so this is nothing but an API URL, right? Right. So in our case, in our Salesforce Apex case, you are building a REST resource. Okay, you need to give the URL mapping. Okay, you need to give the URL. See this one, required property is missing, URL mapping. URL mapping means you are particularly a resource that you are going to hit. Okay, and then you are a different types of API methods are there. Okay, so let me just add it. URL mapping, you can give the any name. Let's say for example, I want to give the API slash my API. My API is a particularly a resource, particularly URL mapping name. Okay, URL mapping name, and this is the API. You can remove that as well. It depends on your process. I can give directly that slash my API. So how this API will be considered as your Salesforce URL. Okay, your Salesforce URL. Then slash services slash Apex REST is a standard one, and then your URL mapping. Then your URL mapping. Let's say my API. Services slash this mapping. This is called as your endpoint URL API. Your API endpoint, and this URL will be called by the other third-party systems who are going to hit your API particularly. Okay, and then here actually you can build a different types of methods. That is @HTTP GET. Okay, @HTTP post, @HTTP particularly put, then @HTTP then patch. Okay, these are the different types of methods that you can declare basically. Okay, to based on the your requirement. But HTTP GET, it's basically retrieve the data, means it's used for the only read mechanism. Okay, so you can build a, let's say public, needs to be a global as well. Global static. Okay, you can return the string because you want to return. Okay. Let's say for example, account page account information. Okay, I'm just giving this particularly. Okay, and what I will do, I will just write my query here. Select ID comma name comma we can say particularly website, and comma account number from account. Okay, so I will get the particularly list of accounts list, and then what I can do, I can do the deserialization of this part. I can return this complete list as well. I can do the, instead of string we can do that as well. And also we can particularly return the JSON string. We can deserialize this. Okay, and we can serialize this complete list as well. And whatever the JSON string will be a return, sorry, I think it is missed. JSON.serialize, we already talked about this one, and we can pass the complete list. Okay, so this is particularly list, and I can return this list. So for now, I built this one. So let's use this only this get method. So this is my first API that I developed using the HTTP annotations. Using HTTP annotations. So these annotations is used for the building your APIs. Okay, means develop your first API. So HTTP annotations is used for the building the API. And let's say, for example, if you want to hold, you want to receive the parameters via URL, you want to receive the parameters via request URI, right? Whatever are there, you can receive it. So I'm just giving this basic example. Let's hit the API. Okay. So for now, I cannot directly call this API using the Salesforce base URL because it needs authentication, a pure authentication. But we are not going to talk about authentication in this session. So what I did, actually, I have created the site, public site to hit the API. Okay. So let's do the hitting the API now. Okay. So I have created a public sites. Okay. For the public site, I cannot use this URL directly, base URL directly, because it needs a proper authentication. So now you are not aware about the authentication, so I'm not going to touch about it. So what I did, I have created the public site. Public site is the mechanism that you can expose your APIs. You can expose some other things as well using site, but you can expose the your REST APIs as well using site. So I have already this particularly a site URL. Okay. Let me just open it. See this one. This is my particularly a site URL. Copy link address. Okay, this is my particularly the URL. Once again, I think it is copied different one. Oh, I think it is copied. Let me just hit it. Okay, see this one. This is the URL, your site URL. Because site URL does not require the login based authentication. And then you need to use the services. Is the standard way by Apex provided services / Apex REST. And this, after that, your URL mapping. So what I did, I give the URL mapping that is called as my API. There it is goes. Yeah, this one, my API. So this is the your API endpoint URL. And any other system can hit this API. Let's say I want to hit this API using Java. So I need to follow the Java callout mechanism. Okay, see this one. I'm just entering this API now. Once this enter, okay, you have to provide the class access. Obviously, you need to provide the reference permissions to access the data, right? So let me give that access. Actually, we are getting the error like you don't have access of this class, right? So obviously, we need to give the access via this site profile. Okay. So I'm just giving this REST API example, save. Now, let me hit this API again. See, I got this complete JSON response. Means what? This is my internal API, my Salesforce API. And this API I'm exposing to the other third-party systems. Means there are vice versa communication, right? There are vice versa. Means particularly this Java-based platform also can communicate with this Salesforce platform and can hit the we can say APIs which is available on this platform. So that is also available. Means we can build our custom API and we can return back it. Okay. So this is how, and we can even we can receive the parameter as well. Okay. If you want to pass the parameter, like let's say for example, name equals to we can say Salesforce. Okay. Even you can access everything. Everything are there. There are REST request class are there. Let me show you. So you can use the another class that is called as REST context. These are the classes. You can access every information which is available in the request. Okay, so using the REST request and REST response classes, you can access the URL parameters, then URI, we can say URI particularly, URI particularly, okay, URI sequence parameters. Then also you can access the body, okay, method or request body as well. You can access headers as well. Okay, so in the particularly REST request class, let me go to this one, REST request class. So in the REST request class, you will be get some different methods. Oh, sorry, not methods, properties, request properties. Here actually you can get the params which is received by the request body, request URI. Okay, parameters means parameters if you are passing via URL. Okay, so if you are passing via URL, right? If you are passing via like this parameter, you can access this parameter. Even also you are passing the body, you can access the body as well. Okay, let me show you the one example. Now I want to see the parameters. I want to access the parameters, right? So what I can do, I can use the request dot REST request is there, and then params. Params is the property are available which gives the map. Okay, which gives the map string against object. Basically, okay, let's say params, and particularly let me just print these parameters. Okay, let me, whatever parameter I can pass multiple parameter, and then let's say for example title. Okay, particularly I can pass the title is, let's say for example developer. Okay, this is for these are the parameters I'm passing. So that parameters also we can handle using the particularly different properties. Even you can use a request URI. URI means you are passing via like /ID something 1 2 3 4. That is also you can use it. Okay, basically. So this is about. Now let me just use it. Params, I have just printed out. So we are hitting this API via guest user. So we need the guest user debug logs. So let me go to the debug logs basically. Okay, we are hitting this API via debug logs. So let me just enter. We can enter debug because we are using a site and we are using the guest user profile. That's why we have to set the debug log. We'll not see the particularly things into the this developer logs. Okay, here you have to set the debug log for guest user. And now let me just search params. See, parameters is received here. I have passed the parameters, right? Sorry. I have passed the parameter name, Salesforce, and title developer, right? Using the parameter. So you can access the parameters as well. You can access the body as well. Body, if let's say you are receiving the body, you can, with the help of request object, you can access the body as well. Request.body. Request body. So you will receive the body as well. Okay. So the REST request and REST response is responsible for building the APIs, and HTTP request and HTTP response is building the communication for calling the API, and it is dependent for the building the API. So as per your requirement, you can define the HTTP GET method, POST method. So basically, every method has some importance basically. Okay, GET method for reading the data. Post method, let's say for example, you want to give the mechanism via API to create a record. So you need to use the post, because that is the, you can use a GET as well. That is also possible. Anyone cannot restricting anything, but the standard way to follow is that you have to create a post request if you want to create a record into the system via API. So that is why you have to use these particular things to this one. Okay. Similar like patch method, you want to use for upsert kind of operation. If you want to fully update the record, you can do the put method. So it is not compulsory, but that is the mechanism to build the integration APIs basically using this one. Okay. So this is about the particularly this one. Okay. Now what I will do. So everyone has clear with this one, how to build the APIs using the REST resource. Is it clear? Everyone, is it clear with this building the APIs?
Yes.
Yeah, clear, Aniket. I think if once the authorization is done, then the understanding will be more, I guess. Now it is okay, then.
Yeah, correct, definitely, sure. But
Yeah.
I will talk about the body. This I'm talking about, I talk about only parameters, but you can send the body as well. Means this API will head by the third-party system. So now what I will do, I will give you the Postman introduction, because from browser we cannot send the body. Okay, so I have to use the Postman tool to send the body. Then you will be able to understand it. Okay. So the now next part is about our particularly today's session is Postman tool. Okay. So Postman, I have included the installation video of the Postman tool in the particular this one as well. Okay, that you can particularly explore. So I have already installed the Postman tool. Okay, here, and you can create a particularly simple. So what is Postman tool? Postman tool is used for the testing purpose. Either QA testers are using, or either developer are using for testing for their unit testing. Okay, and you can use the Postman tool for managing your APIs as well. Okay, so you can create a different. So for example, this is your API. You have built this API, and you want to receive the data in body format. Okay, so using Postman tool, we have the mechanism to send the body via. See, this is params. Okay, let me show you how it is works. Let me remove this one first. So this is your API URL, right? And now I'm talking about params. Params means 1001. Params parameters particularly appends with the question mark. Okay, parameters are appends with the question mark. Basically, you can give the key name. Let's say, for example, ID, and then you can assign values. So it is called as parameters. Okay, it is called as a particularly parameters. Okay, and body also you can pass the headers as well. Let's say you want to do any authentication things into that, you can pass the headers as well basically. Okay, and we have the body as well. You can pass the raw body, JSON body, whatever are there, right? So now my API wants to receive the JSON body. Okay, like this. I will just give you the example. Let's say ID colon, let's say 1001. Okay, and then let's say, for example, first name. I'm just passing the first name. Now you want to receive this data in JSON format. See, this is the JSON format, key against value. So how to receive it? So you have to use REST request dot request body. So you will receive the body. Now you will receive the JSON body. Yeah? JSON body, because you are getting the JSON string response here. So means any third-party systems wants to call your API, they will send this body to you in the particular request body. Okay, and then you can particularly handle it. So now particularly, so request body gives the actually a blob. You have to convert to toString. Okay, so you can use a toString method to convert. So this is receives the blob, but you can use the one blob because you will receive the blob, that is the binary format, and you can blob.value of, and you can pass the blob.toString. So it's directly have the method. ToString. So it will return the string format, means JSON. Then you can do the parsing. Means your API is also can handle the JSON body. Okay. So now let me just send this here. We'll check about the debug log as well. Let me delete this existing log. So we are using a Postman tool for the particularly handle, because we cannot pass the everything from the browser. Okay. So I'm just passing here. We will receive this one. Okay. Will I just debug that body as well. Okay. Now let me hit this API. Yeah, see this one, I got this response. See this one, I just saw this response. I will show you. See, this response is got here. Okay. Now let me show you. We have received the body or not. Now let me click on view. JSON body. See, this complete body is received. See, ID, name. Now you can parse the JSON and you can build your logic and you can send back to the other system, right? So that is your business logic. So this is how you can handle the particularly the request parameters, request bodies, right? Means it depends like how you are handling the request inputs, URL parameters, body and headers, basically. So that is nothing but a building the medium/resource for the third-party systems. Okay. So means Salesforce can do the communication and Salesforce can internally build a custom APIs to provide a solutions to third-party systems as well. So this is nothing but that I am talking about the fundamentals knowledge of the particular, like JSON fundamentals, HTTP callouts, and REST API development. So this gives the idea about particularly the fundamentals knowledge of the integrations, how it works. Okay. So that's why now jump to the again particularly the API. API is nothing but particularly the medium which is your resource was exposed, right? So via this API, so this is nothing but my GET API. Okay, this is nothing but my GET API, and this GET API is exposing my Salesforce account data to third-party system. Okay. So API is a set of definition and protocols that allow technology, products, and services to communicate to your internet. An API call. API call means obviously your API will be a call to the third-party system. Either we can call or either our API will be a call by the third-party system. API endpoint. Endpoint means every RESTful services have a HTTP based URL because it is hosted on the some of the servers. Okay. And the resource is this particularly called as complete resource. That resource is providing the different method based basically. Okay, that is the resource basically. Request. Okay, client sent by a client to server and retrieve the modified data. Okay, means using the GET API methods, we are receiving the request, right? We are receiving the request, we are receiving the response, right? So request contains some methods and URL and parameters basically. And response means what you want to send or what you want to receive. And then response code means either it is success or either it is fail. You have to inform to the system. Okay. Payload. Payload means whatever the data you are receiving, that is nothing but so this data you are sending means you are sending the payload basically. Okay. Data is sent in the API request or response, that is called in the form of JSON. And method means what you want to give to the other third-party system, and query parameters. Authentication are there if you want to authenticate the systems. Yeah, but definitely we are going to talk about the authentication in session number next session basically. the third June sessions that we are going to talk about the authentication fundamentals. Okay, basically. So this is about these things that you need to aware about the concept. Yeah. So we are done with this part. If you have the particularly any questions or doubt, you can ask me now. We are done with this the fundamentals part. Whatever the classes we have developed and everything, I will add into the GitHub repository. So you will be able to having the access of that. Also, you have the access of the assignment. You can try to build the assignment as well. Okay, you can try to build. If you have any questions or doubts, you can reach out to me. You can reach out on the discussion forum as well. Okay, and if you have any questions, you can ask me now. You can unmute yourself, and otherwise you can ask on the chat window as well. I can directly get it your question and I can try to answer it. Okay. Yeah, so we are done with the first session of this particular bootcamp, which is the fundamentals knowledge of the integration, web services, JSON, and the REST API. Yeah, over to you all. If anyone have any questions or anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically in a Postman, like we are providing also providing the parameters in the body. The same working is the same like in the parameters you said, like in params or in the body we are same passing also the parameters, I think.
Means you are talking about like, so this is the query parameters we'll talk about, and you can in the itself, this is called as a URI. Okay, URL mapping. Okay, and this particular URI mapping also you can particularly access via URI parameters. Let's say I want to pass it, let's say let's say for example any name. Let's say I'm passing my name. So this is the query parameters. Okay, and this is the URI parameters. I can pass a multiple, so that URI parameters will be a possible to access it. Okay, is it your question?
No, like I said, like in params you are passing the parameters like ID is equal to this or like name is this, but in body I can pass the same parameters. The thing is the same, but only difference is we passing in the syntax in the body,
Right.
or in the parameters we are only passing like the IDs or a first
Like
name,
this, correct?
anything that I can add. Yeah.
Yeah, like either we can pass it like this, or either we can pass it with a key against value, right? So that is possible. See, when you are building the API now, like every architecture you have to follow, right? What will be the best practices? What will be the mechanism that needs to be followed? So yeah, we can pass it via both way. But if you want to receive the multiple parameters of you need multiple parameters, definitely you can pass it via query parameters by appending and question mark. Okay, but if you want to receive the single things, you don't need to. You can receive via URI things as well. So how your architecture you are designing, like whatever REST based architecture you are following, right? Based on that you can define. But both ways we can pass on the URI parameters and query parameters.
Okay. Thank you.
So Aniket, Rutika here, and I have a question. We have different ways to send data as a part of request. So we have, like you said, we can send it in parameters, we can send it in headers, we can also send in body. So like when should we decide, like from where we should send, like when we should send through parameters, when we should send through header, and when we should send through the body data?
See, as per the best practices that I have actually learned or covered is that most of the times, if you have the secure data or you want to do the secure, let's say your information is very critical that not to be exposed on the URL. So best practices are matters here, and you don't want to expose that data onto the browser URLs or anything, right? So that time definitely use the body. Okay, use the body or headers. Generally, headers will be used for the generalized parameters or the authentication parameters. Okay, let's say what type of data you want to receive, right? So that time you can use a headers like content type. You want to receive the normal text. You want to header, and you want to do some authentication parameters. So basically, your we can say the content or data is very critical or important. You need to be preferred for the body or headers to pass the data, or you are what if you want to expose your informations via URL, so definitely you can pass it. So it depends on like completely how you are designed. Definitely you can pass it via any way, that is not, but the main thing is that if you are doing any secure data communication between two things, prefer the body to pass it. Okay, and if you are doing any authentication for that API, so pass it in the headers for that, for the authentication. We can, okay, so that is the way to follow that one actually.
Okay. And what is the main difference between header and the body? I mean, is there any specific difference or like?
Body is nothing but we can say your communication data. Okay, communication means whatever that data you want to interchange between the two parties, right? I can say you give the one example. If you are, let's say, for example, you are selling your property to the one person, right? So that particular whatever selling property, so your property information like where the properties are located, what are the complete area, what are the price you have, right? So that all those informations will be the documented, right? That is the, we can say, informations are there, right? So basically the major difference, this type of such as informations will be a pass on. The interchange data will be a most of the time we have to pass it into the body, and headers will be the, we can say, the common parameters, or let's say for example content type, content length. Content type means what type of data you are going to, you can receive the text as well. Okay, you can receive the HTML, you can receive the XML. So okay, so my main point is that if you are doing any data interchange and that data will be like I given the one example, like you want to pass on this information to the other person, right? So that type of informations you can hold it on the body, and that other the generalized informations you can hold it on the headers basically.
Okay, okay, thanks. And one last question. The example which you are showing on the Postman, right? So it's a get call. So basically, get call is used to get the data, and I guess we were not able to set the body. So how you're setting the? I guess generally we get errors when we set body in the get call.
No, that is not any. I'm not sure. Like you can share that one with me, but we can set the body. It is not anything that like are there. See, obviously, I show you that like I sending this body and I received it body as well in the Apex, in the get API, right? So that is the way. Most of the time, post having the body parts are there, but we can get it. That is not an issue. Okay. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Hello, Aniket.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a small doubt. You explain authorization and authentication. Is there any difference between them? Means,
Can you
author-
repeat your question? Like you said something.
this is not relevant to this, but just for curiosity, could you please explain just specific term, like what is the difference between authorization and authentication in integration perspective?
Authorization and authentications. See, it's like a similar terminologies. Okay. Particular similar terminology, authorization and authentications. You have to add, like let's say for example, if this Salesforce systems wants to verify, call the API, but this Java system is wants to verify like this call is coming from the Salesforce itself, right? Means a valid particularly system are sending a request to me, right? So that time basically, so in the client and server, we can use these terminologies basically to use that like authenticate, right? So particularly you are sending any username or password or any key or any token, right? So means in the client end side, so you are passing the authentication parameters and you are doing authorization here. So, right? So in the during this phase, basically the whatever your authentication parameter is receiving, that will verify your authentication, right? Via like passing some passing some request tokens to system or not. So basically in the client end side and server side, so both are the same. Authentication is most of the time we have to use in the client end side who are sending the authentication parameters, and authorization is nothing but a server side handlings that authorizing your we can say parameters like whatever username, password or token you are passing, but both are the same basically. Okay, terminology wise we can use same.
Yes. Got it. Thank you so much for your input.
Yeah, so we are done with this part, basically this basic fundamentals part. You can try to build the APIs. You can try to achieve the assignments that we have uploaded. I will give you these complete examples, these notes as well on the portal and the GitHub repository. You can try this API to build. See, everything we cannot cover in the single session. See, we have started at 11:30, now it's 2:30. It's logical, right? 11:30 and 2.5 hours plus we have spent it. So everything is not covered in the one session. So I tried my best to give the fundamentals knowledge, but definitely as per like everything is not covered. We will be going to release some short videos as well to touch base every points as well, and we will cover the another topics as well in this session. Okay, so this is about this week, and thanks for joining this particular bootcamp and session. Hopefully you will be attend the future session as well, which we like next session is planned in the 3rd June, and will be continue throughout the next 2 and 3 months. Okay.
Thank you, Aniket. That was very nice. You concised a big topic into a very simple ways. Appreciate your efforts on that. It will be very helpful. You had given the outline of the complete rest part, so it is very easy to understand. Thanks. Thank you a lot.
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I will get your all those charts. Hopefully we are covered the all chart windows, chart response, but I will cover. I will incorporate that, and we will make sure will be a better next step. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you everyone. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.